Going live. I can't wait for the future when every moment of our lives is just streamed somewhere. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a phenomenal afternoon this Sunday. And I hope you don't have work tomorrow, because there's many greater things to be worrying about, like edgy cartoons and World War III. Here, I got two of my favorite peeps in the world, Darksignal and ShootThaCheese.
Good evening.
Hello.
They're cool people, and they'll do cool things here. Darksignal has been a great help with the film's choreography, and helping me make sure I don't go insane before I'm done. And Cheese has been helping a lot with sprites and perspective work, because he's a cool guy.
Oh. Hello. Again.
And maybe later into the stream, we'll also be showing off what Cheese is doing. But for now, we'll start off with my current progress in the medical sector, which is what I've been working on for the last few months.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love people getting shot and tortured? Me. Or actually, that'd be a lie. I love that kind of stuff.
I thought that
If
was
you
your
didn't love it,
entire
you wouldn't
shtick.
be here in the stream as we speak.
Well, yeah, that's like the people that complain about Madness being edgy. Like, some servers are like really sensitive, like, oh, you can't show gore here without making it a spoiler. It's like, what the fuck are you doing in a Madness server then? Like, the whole thing is about being like edgy violence. It's style over substance, where people are just getting shot all the time. You're gonna complain about seeing someone's eyeball explode? It's like, what kind of world do you live in?
Its main colors are literally like gray and red.
The red to accentuate blood. Like, that's kind of that's one of the stylistic reasons why the series is mostly grayscale, so the red blood and yellow blood from characters can stand out. So I find that especially because even artistically, on a fundamental level, it's made to accentuate the violence. So people who aren't okay with that just have brain problems. But then again, who doesn't if you're in this community, am I right? We're all batshit insane. But that's okay, because we don't judge here. Except for the people we
swallow
do
the marble.
judge. You really shouldn't do that. Swallowing things is more like what you do in grade school, like that kid everyone has to deal with, like where they swallow glue and then they just stop showing up for class one day. You know who
Yeah,
I'm-
they're all gummed up.
Well, yeah, it's because they stopped breathing because they clogged their esophagus with glue.
The glue in their.
There's
lungs
always the
are-
option to breathe through the nose.
Well, some people just don't know how to do it. There's a reason there's a term called mouth breathers, Darksignal. Because people just don't
Yes.
understand how to learn how to just breathe through the nose. And they just have to learn the hard way by dying. I am unironically speaking about that, however. Like, there was a kid in my elementary school who, like, was this stereotypical dummy who, like, would drink Elmer's glue or, like, chew on a glue stick. Did you guys have to deal with someone like that?
No, and not yet.
Not yet. Well, I'd hope you don't have to deal with someone like that in, like, workplace or something. What about you, Darksignal?
No paste eaters as I can remember.
You're very
Worst
lucky.
we had were the kids who were doing rap battles behind the bleachers.
Rap battles in elementary school?
No, in middle school.
Oh, well, that's still kind of surprising. My generation was more like the kind who were sneaking those Jsoull vapes into class and shit. Those, like, really shitty ones that would explode in your mouth and make you lose your teeth.
Mega losers.
Never heard of those until now.
They're just like the really shitty vapes that you can get like the gas station that look fancy, but in reality you're just kind of like signing away your dental rights.
Sounds like those smartphones that got recalled because of explosive batteries.
I remember,
I'll see you
I remember
later
seeing
or
a
something.
yeah, I remember seeing a bunch of videos on that back in the day. That was
You could lob those as a makeshift hand grenade.
Basically, yeah. I mean, lithium batteries contain a shit ton of energy. People really don't realize that. There's a reason airplanes don't like them, even though they still let you carry them on board. You just can't carry the battery itself. It needs to be in a device. Or else they're like, sir, we're going to have to shove our fist elbow deep up your ass and yank out your intestines because go fuck yourself. At least that's my experience with TSA. I do not have a good history with them. They just don't like me. I think it's probably because I'm bald.
Probably.
TSA is especially racist towards people who are hair deficient. It's an unjust world we live in. Unironically, though, I have had a lot of problems with them, especially fucking going international.
I mean, if you have the power to turn your head slightly and blind someone by doing that, then yeah, you kind of are a subhuman.
If I wore a hat through security, would they consider that a concealed weapon?
Maybe, probably.
Shit.
Taking the hat off is considered turning the safety off on your weapon.
Fucking hell. No, actually, so the trip I recently just got back from was to Utah. And this time it actually went, like, security went okay, but the time before this, I actually got stopped on the way out. And this is a pretty interesting story. So I was hiking in Zion National Park, and I usually bring some protection with me in case I run into, like, a crazy hobo living in the mountains or, a bear. I carried a boot knife, a small switchblade in my backpack, and then some bear spray. And when I was done my hike, I remembered to leave the bear spray and my knife somewhere on the trail so someone else can make use of it, because I didn't end up using it. So, it's better for it not to go to waste. But I actually forgot I had the switchblade in my backpack. And I actually completely forgot about it, and I went through security with the switchblade in my backpack. And then the alarms went off and I went through the scanner. And you know what happened? They stopped me because of a wadded up receipt in my back pocket.
Thought you were about to shank someone.
Nope, they never found the knife. I got home, and I was unpacking my things, and I look in the top compartment of my backpack, and I find a knife. Like, when did I buy this? What the fuck? And then I realized they didn't find it. And keep in mind, it wasn't concealed at all. It wasn't in a case, wasn't in a sheath. It was just a regular switchblade, like fixed blade knife, just sitting in the compartment with nothing else around it. Like, it was an empty compartment with just the knife. And they didn't find that when they put that through the full-size scanner. But, I got stopped because of a wadded-up receipt, and they had to do fucking pat-down on me. That
Maybe they did find it. That's why they stopped you.
No, they didn't find the knife. If they found the knife, they would have removed it and destroyed it, or just threw it in the trash. They wouldn't have, sure as hell wouldn't have let me bring it with me on the fucking plane. That was a carry-on. That's the difference. Like, it's so ridiculous. And I was able to get a knife through fucking security. That basically tells me that TSA is basically useless. The whole point of them is just so you feel secure, but they really barely do jack shit.
Isn't that the whole point of airport security in the first place?
After 9/11, yeah. I mean, Christ. Air marshals are a lot better than that. TSA just is a huge pain in the ass. I'm sick of having to take off my fucking shoes every time I go through an airport, my belt. It's like, Jesus Christ, why? No, but seriously, I now know, in case of emergency, I can now bring a knife with me through security if I'm traveling to, like, Afghanistan or something. I'll make sure to remember that.
Why stop there? Just take 8.
I actually heard a statistic once that, one time, I think it was like the FBI or CIA probed TSA to see how effective they were, and like 70% of the weapons they tried to bring through security were able to go through, including handguns with loaded ammunition and full magazines.
Oh.
It makes me think that the TSA agents, I don't think it's the problem with the technology, I just don't think they pay attention because they're just sitting there 24 hours a day staring at a screen and eventually just turns into a blur.
It's not
The question is, how are they able to measure what they didn't see?
I guess based on the agents that are able to get through with their weapons.
Hey, by the way, just Senor Ha is saying, hello, Jsoull, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. My trip went very well, except for one point where I took a tumble down a cliff. That kind of hurt, but I'm not dead, or else I wouldn't be here. And to be in truth, I couldn't die, because I'm not done my movie yet.
And you had to live for this dream.
I had to live for this, and need to live at least until the fucking film's done. It'd be a mistake otherwise. This guy's like, tee-hee-hee, I'm gonna call security, and I get to live and go see my wife and kids. But, life has something else in mind for him. He genuinely thought he was gonna live Darksignal. But you know why he didn't?
Because he made the mistake of being there.
Exactly. He made the mistake of being born. That's the problem. I just find it kind of hilarious that he's genuinely like, tee-hee-hee, I'll call security and then I'll be saved. As if these N-51 soldiers just walked in the front door. This is what happens when you live such a sheltered life as a loser.
The guards will get my back and I'll live forever.
Basically, yeah. That's the attitude of a lot of Nexus people. They're not very smart. I mean, well, the scientists are smart, but they're not very, like, socially or contextually aware. Like, they don't get that having enemy soldiers in a base means they should probably not take unnecessary risks. That's just what happens. Shitty Nexus phones that are probably like rip-offs of Android. We got that right here for you. Actually, these ones were made by LK Gross, and he did a very nice job. It looks like a Galaxy S3 kind of.
Maybe it's gonna blow up in his face.
Just have a lithium battery.
Should have used it as a hand grenade.
Oh, that'd be kind of. I actually remember seeing. I think it was some like not James Bond. It was what's that other famous spy action movie franchise? Mission Impossible, I think. Yeah. Like I remember in one of those movies, they made like an improvised cell phone bomb because of the lithium battery in it.
Well, that was expected of a secret agent because they have the gadgets for it.
Gadgets.
Everything you would expect is some sort of gadget, like a pen that turns into a flashlight.
A pen that explodes like a grenade. Actually, that was
a pen that you can use to stab someone's eyeball.
Actually, no, I remember like a pen grenade was in the latest James Bond, if I remember.
Hey, Jsoull.
What's up?
Necromancer's asking who is making the sprite work for Mac 2.
Plenty of people. It's mostly me, and then LK Gross has helped with a lot of soldiers and a lot of units. Cheese has helped with some units and posters. Darksignal has helped me with some of the perspective stuff, and Cheese has helped me with some perspective stuff. It's a
like
team
shields
effort.
And weapons and whatnot.
Yeah, it's been a team effort, and I appreciate help from everyone. I try to make it look like a kind of reverbed upward. I bet I'm gonna have to redo that. Give me a sec. Yeah, okay. That's
There's like a little explosion underneath the counter.
Well, I gotta wait for the little blood spray that's gonna come out when this fucker slams into the ground.
See, a little flame effect gets snuffed out by the blood shout.
Yeah.
Nexus hasn't exactly mastered lithium battery technology. Okay, that should be good enough. This motherfucker. That works.
Clearly, these fools haven't mastered the phone.
The phone. And if we're lucky, maybe you guys will be able to see one of my infamous blackout crashes on the stream if Flash decides to do that. Actually, should I make it so the phone gets pulled to the ceiling, or should it just be him?
You've already got that gravity going, so you might as well just leave it.
Alright. He's like, oh god, Jesus. And then it's gonna be splat. Although I kind of want to make it so when he hits the top here, there's a little bit of blood. Think I should do that?
We have another question asking if it's true that Max 2 will be about an hour long.
I don't know where you heard that rumor. I mean, if it ends up being an hour, that'd be cool, but that'd also be like a huge pain in the ass because White Hank Zero ended up being a drag because it's too fucking long. The movie will probably be more like over half an hour, I would say. At half an hour, somewhere around there. That's
around like 33 minutes. So
I'd say about there, definitely. At least based on the layout of the current scenes I have, it should be about that length. Counting like the intro sequence. Oh yeah, and for clarifications for those that don't know, commencement was originally like the introduction of the movie, and it still will be. Like a lot of those scenes will still be in Max 2, but I'm refurbishing a lot of the backgrounds. I'm adding new scenes, adding a lot of new shit to it, new music, shots, that kind of thing.
Jsoull's gonna be perpetually remaking older scenes.
No, I've set a hard limit to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm only remaking stuff I made like 2 years ago, which is at this point I'm remaking most of the intro to the party because that, like, I mean, right now I can animate that way better, and also just want to remaster a lot of the sprites because a lot of them are really fucking old. Also because I've learned a lot of new techniques to make that scene look a lot prettier. I still want to have the cameos I planted there, even though some of them people might consider to be evil and of poor taste. You know what I'm talking about, Cheese?
No?
Good. No one deserves to know. Terrible suffering will be involved if you dare question me. Alright. Let me actually render this out real quick to see how it looks. Most of the animation in this room is done, at least like the core animation. That means just like the bodies and all the actual actions and movement that are necessary to facilitate the choreography. Stuff like the feet and the ragdolling bodies and like gibs and stuff that aren't done because they're not really required yet. When I do the final art pass over every scene, I'm going to be doing the feet and the other crap there. That's also why this abomination's frozen in time, because he's supposed to be going limp, but I just didn't animate it yet.
I have a.
What's up?
What's going to be the next scene?
Next scene will be past this room. There's going to be a couple abominations in there, some scientists and sleepwalkers will also show up in there. And then the room after that's going to be like exclusively sleepwalkers as enemies. I'm going to show off their cool shit.
So like the room in the middle is going to be like a hallway or so?
Yeah, so basically it's going to be like a... It'll be like a...
Gurneys everywhere?
If I could draw on a layer and Flash would stop gang busting my balls. It'd be like a hallway, not to scale, like it'll be like hallway, like a kind of medium-ish room, and then there'll be a way bigger room after that with abominations in it. And then the room after that's the last room for the medical sector.
Also, Necromancer is asking how many factions are involved? Just M51, Ammo, and Nexus Corps?
For big factions, yeah. Diorthos is another faction that shows up. I made a community post about them, I think, a couple weeks ago. They're actually separate from Nexus, but they were kind of absorbed into them under a treaty that allows them to act autonomously, but they need to donate their technology and soldiers as like tribute to Nexus Corps. I'd imagine that New Tap probably is in the same category, even though I'm not really sure we're going to put them in the movie. They show up to a limited extent in terms of like some soldiers and equipment. But Diorthos
as I remember, New Tap is mostly scientists and chemical experts.
Mm-hmm.
Their core leadership is scientists. Wow.
But the same can be applied to Nexus as well. After all, the project started around them.
Projectio. But keep in mind, this is not canon to Project Nexus 2. I've had a lot of people get confused and think it's supposed to be like Project Nexus 3, the final Nexaucening.
Mega Man is asking, do you have a specific number of backgrounds per movie section or no?
That's kind of a weird question. By movie section, you mean like each sector I'm doing, like the medical sector, meat sector, like those?
Probably.
I don't really have a hard limit on that. I just kind of add rooms that I think are cool, and I keep going until I feel like it's dragging, or before it drags, and then I end the scene with the finale.
I guess that depends on how you classify movie sections. If you break them up into acts like I did with Subjugation, which was roughly 20 scenes per act.
20 scenes. But that's not 20 backgrounds. That's just like, those are like 20 like smaller sections and shots, right?
They were all still their own unique scenes.
Fuck!
They all had their own backgrounds that had the scene in question.
Backgrounds. Subjugation.
Another question. Just Senior is asking whether the One-Eyed Grunts from Paradigm Madness 2 will be in here.
They will show up to a limited capacity as like later into the film. Probably when they start to reach Phobos' throne room.
The big man himself.
Phobos. And yes, Phobos will show up in the movie because he's a cool guy. He's kind of evil, and that's a good thing, because evil's needed in this world. Evil. Now, where the fuck did I put this guy's backhand sprays?
Yet another question. How many OCs from the community will appear from Grazer?
I think my plan was about like 50. So far, I think I've animated 15 dying, and then 20 around 20 to 25 show up in total so far. That counts ones that are still alive or ones that you already see that are already dead. You're gonna see. Okay, so after the medical sector, there's a short return to the commercial sector where I'm not sure if I showed it off in the stream or not, but X-Tiles group is trying to make their way out of the Megaplex, and we're gonna be following them as they make their way to the tram system.
We're gonna make it, guys.
Yeah, they genuinely believe they're gonna make it, and they actually do kind of okay until things happen, and then things are not okay. Because then that wouldn't be a good movie if I leave any ambiguity towards people being able to live. Mercy is a luxury I can no longer afford, as you know. Just like what happened back in middle school.
That implies you could ever afford it.
Exactly. Sometimes weird things have to happen. Also, quick question to the stream, actually. Is the music coming in okay? Oh, the little sound thingamajiggy's a little off. Give me a minute. One sec. That's supposed to be, there we go. I don't know why that was so off. And then put Abaddon up like, here. Then we compress the little thingamajiggy. There we go.
We got another question for Tombatom CZ, who asks, which one out of the 3 big organizations is the most advanced?
It's a tie between...
My answer to that one would probably be that Ammo and Nexus are rivaling each other in terms of technological superiority, but Ammo has it more centralized to the point where it fits their needs on a more tactical scale, whereas with Nexus it fits them more on a strategic scale.
I guess so. Like Ammo, the whole thing with Ammo is that they're kind of like a really low population group of glass cannons where they have really good destructive output, really, really high-tech units, but their numbers are extremely limited. Like Ammo as a faction only has like 100 guys. And that's not like 100 combatants, that's 100 counting like, you know, technicians, operators, engineers, that kind of thing. So actual combatants are more like probably like 50.
A small army.
Very small army, but a very skilled army. So they're not to be trifled with. God, I love it when I try to rotate and flash and it lags so bad that it doesn't register when I'm trying to rotate a sprite. That's my favorite part. My favorite part. But yeah, they're pretty specialized, they're fun people, but Nexus has like far, far greater numbers because, you know, they got their entire goddamn city. Ammo doesn't really have that, they're just living in a mountain
pull out
somewhere.
new troops.
Yeah, Ammo's just living in a mountain somewhere, fucking hitting sticks together and somehow making the most powerful things known to man. Actually, they have a really good reason for that you'll see in the movie. But it's a spoiler, and if I mention it, then people in the Madness Wiki are going to start sending me boxes of razor blades and bees.
They found the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail will be when Crinkles shows up to them in person and personally snaps their necks for being such pretentious and pedantic bastards.
And at a count of only 100 people, you can see why they needed the likes of N51 to aid in this two-pronged assault.
Yeah, because N51's like an actual formal conventional army, and they kind of need that to get into the city and wipe everyone out and shoot every unarmed person they meet. Okay, not really. N51 doesn't like doing that, but Ammo does.
Speaking of factions, we have another question from Rafael Soto. Will other NPN factions appear in the animation?
I think I might have... Well, the Mercs technically appear as like the meat workers in the meat sector, but they don't appear formally because they've been dissolved and just being like, you know, meat workers.
They used to be the leading matter energy reclamation company in all of Nevada, but ever since Nexus took over and rose to power, became the tyrants that they were destined to be, they have since repurposed them and took over their duties.
And now the Mercs are just like the meat production people. They grind up children into paste and sell it to people. Well, not exclusively. They also deal with actual like maintenance, technology, all that kind of shit. But they've been turned into more just
food stuff. But it's mostly food stuff.
Mostly foodstuffs for the city. They mostly repurpose like rejected clone bodies, corpses, and I probably will have a scene where you see they're actually like growing like lab meat, like people meat.
Which is probably what they were already doing.
Yeah, but the rejected clone bodies and corpses are like a supplement to that. That meat's gotta go somewhere. Not like there's any vultures to go pick on it.
To answer co-worker Gerald's question on whether or not there are going to be bandits in this animation, I'm pretty sure they aren't going to be. If they are, they're probably just going to be some guests or entourage brought on by other OC.
Bandits might make a... Okay, so when I mentioned earlier that I was going to be like refurbishing the commencement intro, I wanted to add a scene there when N51's approaching the city, where you might see like a couple bandits. Like it would just be like one quick shot where you see like they exist, but they're not like having a presence there. They're just kind of like hanging around outside the city walls.
As they were in Project Nexus itself.
Exactly. Dirty bastards. And I want to
because in Project Nexus, the bandits on the outside were the citizens who managed to escape when the fall was happening.
Yeah, but I want to seriously refurbish some parts of the intro. Like in the intro, you can see that like Nexus City was built on top of where Vegas used to be, but I want to make that a lot more visually clear. So when I have some like actual old building ruins there, for like the actual Las Vegas and with the exact road layout and everything.
This isn't a spoiler, guys. You saw the sign in the commencement trail.
Yeah, it didn't exactly try to hide it. It was supposed to be kind of obvious. So I'm going to be making that. Well, not making it more obvious for those that don't get it. I just want to kind of play on more on that idea rather than it just being like a passing notion.
Being subtly unsubtle.
Exactly. So it's like when you see N51 stop by Caesar's Palace to grab some beer, you're like, is this really Las Vegas? The ISOs go to the slots, and then 10 hours later, like, oh shit, we were supposed to invade, weren't we? They look at their phones, 80 missed messages from Ammo. And they just got blown off like a date with cold feet.
Just Senior asks if it's possible to join Ammo if you are an OC.
No. They just kill you on principle. That'd be like Hank asking to join the Auditor in the agency against Hank Wimbledon. They're like, no. They wouldn't even say no. They just immediately try to shoot him.
It's literally against their code.
It's agency against Malevolent Originals, which specifies to literally any OC that exists in any capacity whatsoever. And that would mean whatever your character is. So your character wouldn't be like, tee hee hee, I'll join the faction, I get to live. He knocks on the door opens, double barrel to the face, dead.
And then they drag him in and then close the door.
And then you just hear horrific grinding and peeling sounds for the next 3 days. And maybe he ends up looking like
3 days.
Guys. Nice job, buddy. Took us 3 days to make that potato salad.
3 days!
That scene has been cemented in my brain for eternity. Let me actually take a look real quick. I wish the playback wasn't so shit in Flash. It's like, damn, Adobe, you can't handle a couple dozen sprites moving around. Like, I'm not really doing anything very technically complicated here. It's just shapes moving on a bunch of layers. But Flash is like acting like I'm trying to render God's will. But nope, it's just this guy. Goodness gracious. I also wanted to put little Easter eggs on these books back here and have them named after people.
Is there even enough space to put titles on there?
Yeah, there is. In fact, I'll do one right now just to make you scream. I just need to find what layer I put it on. No, that's not it. No.
And so the
Where is it?
begins.
What the fuck did you just say to me?
So the search begins.
Oh, there we go. And there's books in the background that are even hidden because you know I'm an awful person. I have to break them apart, which is gonna fuck up everything, and then books. I definitely typed an S there, but Flash is lagging so bad that it didn't register it. That lets you know you're using a good program. Let's make it 0.90. Make him a little bit better.
A question from Scripe, the squid. But Jsoull, wouldn't Abaddon be killed by Ammo once his usefulness has been fulfilled?
Well, not on principle. That'd be kind of like if Ammo's own soldiers decided to shoot, like, the three wise men like Casper just on principle. That'd be kind of dumb because they're the guys that started it all. In terms of Abaddon, that'd be like if the U.S. military didn't like tanks and they started sabotaging all their own vehicles. That's not something you do.
You can build tank busters and still have tanks.
Exactly. In this case, Abaddon does have a greater purpose that is fulfilled later into the movie.
If you were to kill him at the end, it'd be squandering resources.
I mean, yeah, they kind of put a lot of money into making him. I mean, I made an entire movie about them just retrieving one part to make him. So, I don't know why they would just be like, well, guess we're gonna destroy our $1 trillion fucking coup de grace. That'd be like...
And if you saw an artifact, they've already made some pretty sacrificial investments to get to that point.
Sacrificial. I'll add another yellow book up here because I hate yellow so much. It makes me want to attack a child with a weapon.
But I like yellow.
Go to hell. Okay. Darksignal. I can name this blue book something because you like blue. What should the blue book be?
The Blue Book.
Fuck!
All one word.
Oh, give me a minute. Let me make it look a little fancier. I'm gonna have like little overlays and shit. Because Flash does not like doing things.
Tuster asked, when did you start making the movie?
Max 2 existed to a certain capacity back in like 2019. I can actually show you real quick. Give me a second. Screen, no characters, no. I have some shit saved on my old drive. Max actually originally had some scenes for Max 2 a while ago. Like back when it was basically just like... It's kind of weird to say, but back when it was just going to be like a sequel to Max 1 was just more of the same. Like an agency going to buildings and killing OCs. When right now it's expanded far, far beyond that. Let me find which one this was. Oh shit, that's so fucking old. Max 2... Is this... No, that's not it. Actually, yeah, it is. Give me a second. I'll open up a couple of these and show them all. That's old as piss. That's shockingly, terribly old. There we go. I don't care if it's fucking action script too. God damn it. Here, you can tell it's old because I'm still using my goddamn V-cam. Does this have multiple scenes in it, actually? Let me check. Window, scene. No, it's just that. And I think this was one where I was going to start adding rooms to it, but I never did. I remember actually animating this, but I don't know where that went. This is just some room I made for a test using a perspective grid, which I was practicing.
A perspective grid, it looks like it would be going through a tunnel.
Well, it does, but that was just used for reference for like drawing lines and shit.
And look at that spicy G11.
Oh god, don't remind me. Don't remind me. You'll make me puke. Look at this old, ugly, disgusting ammo age. And you can tell how old it is, because using my bodies are in like Parroting 2. He's so vile, so putrid, that even God himself refuses to acknowledge it. He just closes his eyes and starts saying, if you can't see me, I can't see him. And he starts crying. Pretty standard affair, all things considered. And then I think that's supposed to be a regular HW agent. At the time I was kind of obsessed with adding gradients, and that's why they got transparency even though it looks better when it's just like flat. That's a really... When the fuck did I even make this? Let me check the date. This was made in 2018, actually. So like a year before Parroting 2 even came out. Holy crap. Yeah, so this is really old. This was like after Jailbreak about, actually? Jailbreak came out on a Halloween. Oh, this was February of that year, so this was like way before even that. Damn. I didn't even know I'd have something that old still around. Yeah, there's shit like that, and I have a couple comparisons in here of like my spriting expertise increasing marginally over time. Like here's like 2018, 2019 ammo agent, and here's a new one. I'm upgrading some of my older guns, giving them new line work, shading, highlights, all that shit. I think it's safe to say this guy looks a little better.
And the guns I sent you. Hopefully.
Wait a minute. This wasn't your gun, I made these. And wait, why does it say OMA? Oh, because I fucking flipped the thing and I was a retard and didn't do it right. There. Now the magazine's broken, but I don't give a shit. Actually, oh yeah.
Panzer tank questions. What's your favorite cannon fodder you've made?
Like a cannon fodder unit for like guys that just get mowed down and die?
That works.
Well, I mean, that's... Ammo doesn't really have cannon fodder, and 51 doesn't really have cannon fodder. I guess cannon fodder would be more on the Nexus side. I like using Nexus agents and ATPs especially, because I think they look pretty.
Aren't agents supposed to be cannon fodder in
That's their purpose.
Nexus?
Oh, yeah, but to Nexus they're like 1% more important than they are for AHW. And ATPs are used a lot more frequently as the movie goes on. Like, you get rarer and rarer units. Eventually, it starts with just agents, tacticians, then tacticians and ATPs and heavies, and then eventually gets to the point where you're just having, like, going against Soldat kill teams and Diorthos fucking death squads. Fancy pantsy shit. Oh yeah, I can
At
use
first they believed that they could like push back the invaders.
Well,
but
they
they're gonna have to call
do
in
a
bigger
decent
fucking
job at
force.
first, but the thing is they're just going against really, really bad odds. I need to show that they actually tried, or else people are like, Jsoull, fucking blow your brains out, you didn't make this movie well enough. It wasn't hyper-realistic. And yes, people will complain about hyper-realism in a Madness movie. I know from experience.
Who?
A lot of people in servers from what I've seen. They're like, well, realistically, an agent wouldn't do that. They would, like, slip on a banana peel first and then shit their pants. And I think people who take Madness too seriously are themselves the problem. Because they don't know how to have fun. Can make this like a lighter blue, it'll look a little different. Yeah, it looks okay. I just have, like, some patterns on these books in the background, so they look nice. One of the only good things Adobe added to animate was you get these like pattern vector lines you can have, which are only useful half the time because you can't properly resize them like this. I can't make this any smaller to actually fit on the page. You would have to convert it into a shape, which I'm gonna have to do for this anyway. So fucking gotta break it apart now because it's technically a line, it's really vertical and you can't really size it well. You have to kind of fuck around with it. You see, even though I'm grabbing onto the corner and pulling it to the side, it does absolutely nothing. I can only stretch it vertically, even though it's supposed to be a bunch of shapes. So another great aspect about Adobe design. Even though I broke it down into shape data, it still won't let me resize it properly. There goes that. Who wants polka dot shapes anyway? That shit's for fucking wusses. Flowers? No. Yeah, sure these work. For the most part, CS6 has been the most loyal to me in terms of it not breaking non-stop. So kudos to whoever was around to work on that back in the day.
That was back when they actually cared about their product and you could actually own it.
Back when you could own it, and then they're like, well, we're going to make it so we perpetually drain your wallet, because go fuck yourself. Give us money. Oh, what's that? You bought a perpetual license? Fuck you. You don't have it anymore. Pay us more money. That's what they did to me. I remember working a whole fucking summer just to get license for After Effects and I think like a really old version of Premiere. Back when I was like 14? 13? Somewhere around there. And I remember like that same year, like I bought perpetual licenses, like the actual like discs, like the physical shit they used to sell. And worked perfectly fine. And then they rolled out, oh, we want perpetual payments now, where if you use our product, you have to pay us money literally for the rest of your life. And all those perpetual licenses, all gone. Now you have to pay money. Fuck you.
I have not had that problem when I got Adobe CS6 because I got it at a student discount.
Congratulations. You got lucky. Because they're like, oh, to keep the program updated, if you want to use anything with it, you're going to have to pay us that perpetual license, buddy. Doesn't matter you paid the perpetual license already. You're going to pay us for the rest of your life. Forever.
In this case, updating would screw it over more.
Yeah, updates. That's kind of one thing I've noticed. I use this one program called 4K Video Downloader. And it works pretty well, but the thing is I have to use it to a very limited capacity because almost every other update it'll break completely. But when it isn't doing that, it actually works pretty well. So it's like I just have to stop it when it starts working. Like when an update works well enough, I have to stop it before it updates. But whenever I restart my computer, it just updates itself anyway, which always pisses me off when programs do that. For some reason, other people have been brainwashed to think that's okay when it's really not. People just think it's okay for programs to update when you don't want them to. And they're like, well, that's just Web3. And it's like, no, it's not. Okay, I broke this down into a fucking shape and morphed it so it would fit. And even though it's a shape now and no longer a line vector, it's still resizing itself to where I can't do it. That is actually impressively annoying. So like, ready? This is a shape vector. I can start to change it. You see me. You see with your eyeballs right now. Everyone on stream. You see this. It's a shape. I'm morphing it. I'm scaling it. But then if I... Oh, auto recovery. But then as soon as I let go, resets completely into a regular line. That's Adobe's way of just flipping you off. So I can't even use these conventionally because it just refuses. Even when you break them down into raw shapes, it still won't let me just resize it properly. It's terrible. I can just slightly warp it and hope it doesn't fix itself. Okay, that's gonna have to work well enough. What? Drawing groups can only contain shapes? What the hell do you mean? This isn't in a group anymore. Get me out of here. Drawing objects only contain shapes? Okay, cool, let me leave. Get me out of this prison. I'll do the rest of the books later. Reminds me when I was actually in prison, and it was terrible. You ever had to go to prison, Cheese?
No,
Son,
not yet.
have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
I'll be right back.
I had to go to one
Just
in New
give me a
Zealand.
minute.
Yeah, you better be back, Cheese, or else you only want to know what I'm going to do to you. No, he seriously doesn't want to know. I'm not kidding, guys. He really doesn't. He'd scream. In reality, I'd probably just send him a box of, like, miscellaneous items meant to confuse him.
Maybe you should make one of the book titles Ceiling Cleaning.
What, because this guy gets slammed on the ceiling and gets some blood on there?
Exactly.
Good.
There will be a book on hand just for the janitor for that exact moment.
If the
In
janitor,
fact, that's why the janitor bought the book.
if there's a janitor that's still alive by then, I actually kind of wanted a scene in the commercial sector where there's a janitor cleaning up some of the bodies, and N51 just is completely passive and ignores them, but then ammo walks through and they shoot him immediately on sight. Just a little bit more of a parallel, as if we didn't have enough of that. It'll be great. The janitor's like, wait, I can provide you my ID card, and then they shoot him an extra time because he tried to actually live. You can't negotiate with people that had parts of their brains taken out. Like, does this guy look like he's negotiable? No. He probably doesn't even know what that word means. They're not good people. Alright, so... grabs him up, and then... I'm gonna have him reset to his previous hand posture when he's done fucking around with this guy. A little back, there we go. I've been having a lot of fun playing around with all the different powers from the Casper crew here. They're a fun bunch. And that's not it. I need this hand. Actually, I'm wondering if I should have the fist come out in front and then he should fold it back behind his hips, or if I should just leave the semi-open hand there for when he has done the job. Actually, yeah, I'll make it so this hand goes out in front. It looks a bit nicer then. This hand there, yeah, it does look good. Let me actually do like that. If Flash would stop lagging so bad, Jesus. There we go. Hey, Darksignal, what's the most annoying thing Flash does to you in particular? For me, it's just...
turn.
Fuck you, Cheese. For me, it's when
Thank
it
you.
lags so bad to the point where it doesn't register when you're clicking and doing things, and it messes up your frames and makes them look like shit.
I don't really have the lagging problem.
Lag. I'm impressed with the fact that in Subjugation you got like 1 billion trillion symbols and it doesn't fuck with you.
It actually doesn't have that many. It's mostly just graphics with a lot of frame.
Fuck. Well, congratulations.
I never understand why people would have it so that every single angle is its own separate symbol when you could just lump it all as a graphic whose frames you could control.
In my case, it's more because like I like to do damage states a different way than just like putting the blood. Like it's like the original style of doing it is you don't change the actual base sprite at all. You just put like blood sprites on top of it, and then you animate it together. I like to, like for gore, I always like taking the actual sprite itself, duplicating it, and then adding the damage dynamically. So like, you know, the clothes and armor actually get dented and moved, and flesh is actually ripped instead of it just being like a flat sprite that's put on top.
The way I do it is a little differently. However, I have to make sure I get it right on the first go before the animation gets baked, so to speak.
Or else you'll be doomed forever with no hope.
Or else any adjustments that I would have to make to that scene would wreak havoc.
Exactly. It would be quite problematic. No, just unhide. There we go.
And to answer the previous question, I think the most annoying thing that happened to me when working with Flash, it doesn't really happen to me so much anymore. But whenever I started up Flash, there would always be this weird auto-snapping issue where it would just stop listening to whenever I had auto-snap set or not. And thus, it just either wouldn't snap or it would always snap, and it was always on an oversized grid.
Piece of
And
shit.
the only way for me to fix that problem was to just restart the machine entirely.
That's pretty bad.
Hey, Jsoull.
What?
Evidently the music stopped playing.
Oh, yeah. Let me find another album for you guys.
Do
Let's
Wrath
see.
of Code by Dan Jarvis.
It's a little too intense. I got a bunch of shit in here. We got fucking.
There.
We got a lot to pick from. Does the stream want more music like what we just listened to? If so, then we can play more of that. If you want something more intense, I can also do that as well. How about we just see what the stream people say? All the people in my head that start screaming words that don't make any sense!
We have names.
No, you don't. Not if I say so.
Okay.
Actually, there is one in here that could work. But keep an eye on what they say. If they want more of what we just listened to, I'll grab another one like that. Makes you take a looky myself. I'm not playing regular Madness music. Everyone else already does that. I've heard that song 1,000 goddamn times. I don't want to listen to it 1,001.
Maybe you've heard so much because it's a good track.
That's gonna be what you hear on your doorstep when I'm smashing down your fucking windows, killing your pets.
You know, Lyle, he's got the
Oh
point.
boy, Jsoull's here. All my pets are dead.
Good. You should be smiling and screaming at the same time.
They died.
Just make sure you cry. We're gonna be playing some more cool stuff from a guy I really like. Give me a moment to make the preparation. Is this the right one? Yes, it is. Now, let me just get this ready. And then everyone gets to listen to music while I descend more and more into a state of irreparable, true insanity. It's
Further
not
down
funny.
the spiral.
And it's not funny. It's not fucking funny when it actually happens to you. Let me just tell you that right now. Okay. We're gonna play this. And we're gonna switch to the compact player. No, not the compact one, goddammit. Give me the mini. Fucking piece of shit. Now give me the full fucking thing. There we go. Little Fucking cocksucking fucking piece of shit, dick licking fucking... There we
Yeah, sound even more dignified.
go. Dignified. Okay, now that should pick up on the stream just fine. This album's actually pretty sick. It's by a guy, I think it's some dude who lives in London. He's called Woob. It's a stupid name, but it's fucking fantastic ambient kind of cyberpunk music. But not generic cyberpunk where they just put some dark synth over someone screaming in the background in a back alley in New York. It's more dignified than that. Although a lot of people wouldn't like to admit that, would they? I need to... There we go. Okay, now it should show up just fine. You should be able to see the names and all that. Alright, back to the plans.
And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Regular. Animating Mad News hands. You know, I actually don't mind hands too much. Actually, the thing I hate animating most are actually heads, because I tend to make them like bob too much, and they look a little silly. What's your least favorite part of the body to animate, Darksignal? With your style, I actually am very curious what it would be.
I don't really have a least favorite part because I treat it all as one unit. I'm not like most other animators where I animate the feet last because I feel like that makes the movement too floaty. And I think with the style I have where you can actually stretch your legs, all steps have a little more weight.
They do. That's one of the benefits to your style. Although I do think that animating feet first can become problematic because then it's kind of hard to gauge the position of the rest of the body. I always do torsos first. That makes the most sense to me because everything else is connected to it. Like all the weight and momentum is based on the body.
Well, that makes sense because in the default style, you can only step so far. It's like the feet can't even be, there can't even be space between the feet with each step.
Yeah, in your style, it makes sense to do, like, put emphasis on feet. I'm not saying I don't put any effort in feet. I try to make them at least look like they're stepping on the ground rather than just pinwheeling in the air. But I do bodies first because my style is based very heavily on just, you know, the default madness proportions. And it just makes sense to do that.
I just think it's funny watching some fan-made madness animations where you see the feet going so fast that they might as well take off.
I actually want to see that happen.
Sonic's shoes.
Sonic shoes. I hate Sonic the Hedgehog. If I saw a hedgehog in real life, I can't say that here or else I'd get my channel removed.
We better not tell him about the Sonic movie then.
If you fucking mention that thing to me, I swear to God, you will never have a chance.
I didn't mean it. Please don't take away my...
Oh, I bet you did. I bet you did, you little fucker. Alright. We continue animating hands, because I love hands so much. Hands are so nice to hold and to use to hurt people really fucking badly. In this case, I just need to make it so he returns to his default pose where he kind of like folds his hands behind his back. I'll make it about there, that's good. Actually, it can show up a little sooner. Fucking no, goddamn piece of shit. You gotta cut frames so they stay in place. That took me a while to figure out. That cutting frames and removing frames, like when you move a frame, it actually deletes all the frames ahead of it in these blank space. What you almost always want to do is cut, because it keeps everything else around it the same. And I remember back when I was working on like Parroting 2, I didn't know that trick yet. I thought removing would just mean remove, but it fucks with everything else ahead of it too. And you'd end up setting body parts, frames ahead and behind of what they're supposed to be. And then ended up being a very traumatic experience for me. It turned me into the completely sane, rational person I am right now. So yeah. Let me finish this bastard. And actually, let me check my CPU usage. Flash is currently at... we'll do this as like a fun little game. We'll keep an eye on CPU usage for Flash. And we'll see just how bad it gets. CC 2018. I'll slap that in a... Oh yeah, I think this one already has the world record. Yeah, this one has the world record where it got to 13 gigs. Actually, it got up to 16 or 17 once, but I don't think I screenshotted it. We'll keep this as like a tab. Just see how much the memory leaks. Oh, it actually... Wow, okay. That's impressive. It actually just increased to by another gigabyte. 5 gigs. That's interesting. It's currently increasing at about, looking like 20 megabytes per second. It's at, Jesus, it's currently at 5,500,000, now 5,600,000. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, we'll see how long it can keep going. Even if it crashes, I'll keep streaming after that. You guys get to see the pain I have to put up with. Okay, delete that frame, let's move that here. Oh god. Yesterday I ate a live eel, and I think it's still wiggling around in me somewhere. No, I didn't want to paste that, goddammit.
It's one of those parasite eels.
That actually reminds me of this video. Some Korean guy, like, he had like a bottle of like worms or something, and he poured alcohol in it and then downed it. I'm not sure what the hell that was about, but I remember that was like a viral video. Now, personally, I would recommend not eating living things on principle. Like, I don't really have sympathy for worm parasites, but I don't think it's a good idea to have something alive inside your body when you're eating it. To me, this is kind of like existentially disturbing. I would hope that's the same for most people. But then again, most people aren't normal, are they? Or else we would actually live in a stable, functioning society where you don't have to look outside and see people stabbing each other with rusty spoons. Or
a
maybe
worm crawled up my arm and rested on my neck. When I whispered into my ear, I felt a tingle. He told me how to make a weapon that'll help us against our enemies.
And here's the thing. It's made of worms. Even fire's worms. But it stings like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that. I was going to say, though, maybe the rusty spoon thing is just because I live in New Jersey. That might just be exclusive because this is the shittiest state this side of the East Coast. Goodness gracious. Also, I apologize if you hear any farm animals in the background. Cows recently got loose and killed 16 people. I'm actually hiding in my house right now. I haven't been able to go get groceries in the last 6 days, so I'm kind of running on fumes right now. Just to be aware of that.
Rusty spoons make great shivs in prison. So, One-Eyed Joe, what are you doing back in the joint? Well, I shift my probation officer with a rusty spoon, just 'cause he looked at me funny.
Oh, we'd be best friends because I look at people funny all the time. But that's usually because I do something to them. Let me, no, I gotta fix that fucking, there we go. Have it hang for one more frame, and then after that I'll have it so it's clasped in the fist. There we go. And then on that frame, I'll just have it so the fingers are back to where they're supposed to be. Then the fingies. Actually, should I use these ones? Maybe take a look. Is everybody on stream enjoying this track? I could switch it to something else if you guys don't like it. Even though I personally think it's A-okay. I've listened to far worse music. That should be okay. Actually, let me make it a real thing. Yeah, let's... Actually, Cheese, I didn't get to ask you this. What's the biggest problem Flash is often giving you when you're working? Not explicitly when you're animating, but just like when you're making your sprites and such.
I don't often have problems, not enough that I can remember.
That's actually shocking, given how much you've used the program.
I suppose The biggest problem I ever get is with text because it just makes Flash lag with all the letters I have typed.
Well, Flash really doesn't like it when you do anything remotely visually interesting. It punishes you for trying to be actually expressive with your work. At least in my experience. Don't listen.
As a general piece of advice to everyone on stream, don't pay for Adobe products. Please pirate them. And Adobe's legal team, please, by God, drink motor oil.
Besides text, I guess sometimes just lines, having an extra line for some reason.
Oh, like you mean like when you put lines together and then it creates a bunch of extra points and kind of makes it
when they intersect and that happens.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate that. It likes to generate ones on the fly sometimes just to piss you off.
It's magic.
No, it's just fucking terrible. Like it's just like it's hard to explain. Like if I have two lines that intersect like this, and I go to sub-selection, it should just be 1 point. But half the time, it'll make just like 4 or 5 all bunched up, and then it gets it all screwed up. And it's almost impossible to fix without just redrawing entire sections. Also, I get a weird bug where, let me draw like 2 lines. So like if I want this line to be curved, but if I curve it too much, then it can't really be recent. It's like permanently kind of like wobbly in a way that's a bit hard to explain. Usually happens when it's combined with another point.
If you have a curved line, you should just delete it and make a new one.
I know, but sometimes the curve's perfect and then you don't want to get rid of it.
No, I mean like if the curve is not what you wanted.
Yeah.
Misclick.
Like sometimes you'd get it like this, but then if I bend it in a way, another part of it would be like lopsided and you won't be able to fix it without just removing it entirely. Which means it's a piece of shit. Like most things in Flash.
Agonizing Star Butterfly asks, what min mark are you guys in now?
Like, do you mean like the time in the movie that this takes place?
I believe the question is referring to what point in the movie are we at?
We're over the halfway point right now. This is about 20 minutes in.
Just over?
Counting the other scenes that come after that. I mean, like, the runtime in total is over 20 minutes, but, like, this takes place around the 18-minute mark? The scenes past this that are in their, like, prototype stage, and some stuff's, like, also done. That adds it to 20 minutes. This currently takes place at 18 minutes, about 18, 19 minutes. There's another scene I need to get done in the residential sector. I showed off the entire residential sector my first stream. And you saw like there's a lot of shots in there that are just like the line work. I still need to go back and add all the effects and shading and decals and all that. There's gonna be a small additional sequence after that that combines and connects the residential sector scenes to the meat sector. That'll be about 45 seconds to a minute. And so that also boosts the runtime. That must be kept in mind, you see. And someone just messaged me in a server. The fucking gall of these people is ridiculous.
The unmitigated gall!
Makes me just want to like wrap my hand around someone's throat and squeeze until life leaves their eyes.
The nerve!
The nerve of some people. They're truly cruel, abominable. And I think I see a question in the chair. What does it say?
Next says, will we be shown the entirety of the Megaplex?
There's a question above that, you missed, you fucking idiot.
Do you mean the question just above that, where if Ammo keeps in touch with anyone else besides M51?
Yes. No, not really. AHW does not exist at this point in the universe. This takes place after Madness 10, and after Madness 10, the AHW is kind of dead. I mean, that was their headquarters in Madness 10, and you notice, like, at a certain point during the final battle in Madness 10, the agents and everyone just kind of stopped showing up. That's because they're all kind of dead. I mean, there's still AHW units that are alive somewhere, but their vast majority of their forces are wiped out completely. Or else, why wouldn't they be constantly reinforcing their god during his final battle? Correct, Darksignal?
Well, it definitely has that Tower of Power feel.
Also, the fact that literally their boss's office was there.
By the way, Necromancer wants to know what this song is currently.
And we had that showdown.
Yes, I think Buddy Boy McGee already gave him the name. I mean, you can see the fucking name right in the corner of the stream. It's right there. There's the name and there's the fucking guy that made it. And the album cover. You can't miss it. Unless you're blind. Which if you are, I very sincerely apologize.
If you're blind, how are you here?
Good point. What was the question prior to that? Someone else asked something that I missed. Oh yeah, we'll be shown the entirety of the Megaplex. You'll be shown most of the major sectors. You'll see a lot of the exterior of the building, a lot of the interior. You're not going to see like literally every room, or else that'd be like kind of impractical and not really good for the movie.
It'd be like showing off the Death Star.
Yeah, it'd be like if like you see enough of the Death Star to know what it is, but you don't need to be shown like every room inside. That's kind of the same thing here, where the Megaplex is the centerpiece of the film, and you see a lot of it, but you don't need to see all of it, or else that'd be horrifically mundane and ungodly. Can you imagine having like a 8-minute sequence where we have Phobos monologuing about how cool he is and that he rules the world, while you just see multiple rooms in the Megaplex with nothing happening?
It'd probably be the brochure that he sends out to people who want to visit the Megaplex.
Exactly, that's why you shouldn't trust those kinds of people. They're evil. Evil.
Sign up today.
Sign up today. Oh goodness, my bones. I need to stretch my arms before they recede into my spine. Oh. I feel better. But you'll see all major sections of the Megaplex. We see residential sector, commercial sector, meat production sector, administration, the throne, which is like Phobos' personal palace on top of the Megaplex. Originally, I actually wanted to, originally the Megaplex and the Science Tower were going to be separate buildings in the city. Like, we wouldn't be in the Science Tower, there'd be like a couple of shots that show it exists, but like it's overshadowed by the Megaplex. But at one point, I actually wanted the Megaplex to be so big to where the Science Tower could fit as a building on top of it. But eventually I scrapped that and just made a custom building instead, which I think is a little cooler. They're just reusing something that was in a game that came out 20 years ago.
The Megaplex was built underneath the Science Tower and just kept rising.
Well, that'd actually be kind of a cool idea. Oh, you see, when you say shit like that, you make me want to add something that's like in the commercial sector, you could see the Science Tower in the middle of the building as if they built around it and then up.
They just dug out an entire crater, and everything that they dug out went into the Megaplex.
All delicious, delicious. I see Next saying, Phobos flexing his Megaplex by showing us rooms with literally nothing. Yeah, this empty concrete corridors, that's what you're supposed to do in Madness, right? I like
just like underneath the Citadel from our benefactors.
In this case, it's more just, like, it's just something I like to personally do, even though it takes a lot more work. I like to give each sector in the movie a very distinct visual, like a very distinct color palette, and a very distinct, I mean, it's stupid to say, like, oh, a distinct color palette when I'm mostly using, like, red, white, and yellow, but the usage of that in, like, a color scheme, in addition to, like, just how things are shaped and positioned and the layouts. Like, the medical sector, I want to be very visually different from, like, commercial or the meat. Like, meat sector is visualized by, like, really dark, grungy corridors, you know, stains all over the walls, and just vats of blood lying around, and blood stains and shit on the floor. While, you know, the medical sector is very clean, it's gonna be very sterile. Obviously, you need to do the shading and shit. We got all the custom pretty posters showing, like, look how cool and fancy we are. We're such nice people. We just inject your open eye with a needle every day and then smile as you scream.
It's always the open eye with you.
I just think that's what makes it the most intense, like to an unnecessary and disturbing degree.
You know there's a thing such a teeth horror, right?
There's such a thing as me pulling out your teeth and crushing them in my fist. Do you want that to happen to you?
I don't think you can do that.
Don't doubt me. I also have to prove it to you. And I like you, Cheese, so don't make me.
Okay.
All the rooms are empty because Phobos is a property owner trying to sell real estate. Squid, I think you're getting somewhere with that. Alright, I gotta go take a quick piss. You guys keep answering questions while I'm gone, unless it's like asking my home address. Don't give them that, please. I already have enough people I need to deal with.
He lives in Alaska.
I already said I lived on the East Coast, you fucking idiot! I'll be back.
Well, way to clarify that for everyone here.
He lives in Florida. Our master is gone.
Have none of you any questions? Is Jsoull's IQ the room temperature of Alaska? No, it probably isn't.
Man, you ever have a piss so good you feel like a new man afterwards?
Maybe.
Then you haven't really been a real man in your whole life. You're a shadow. Cheese. Even more so than Darksignal, the actual ghost. Goodness gracious. Now we continue. Make sure to keep an eye out for questions. Did you answer any while I was gone?
There was only one that was asked until recently.
Then continue.
High Roller 3689 questions how N51 is a powerful force.
Well, I don't want to spell it outright because it's already so obvious from the intro, but they're a conventional formal army versus Nexus, which had to build its army from what was originally just like an expeditionary scientist kind of force. That doesn't mean they're not, like Nexus themselves are not formidable. They are now, because this is like a century after they formed and they're pretty hardcore. But N51 by comparison is like a genuine formal army like you'd have in real life. They got tank divisions, like proper formations and shit. Like they know their shit.
Darksignal, maybe you'd be the best person to explain because, you know, you fucking made them.
Well, that depends on whether or not he's asking how they have all the resources that they do now, or if he's just asking how they got there in the first place.
Well, as he clarifies that, maybe we can answer another question.
Well, Necromancer asks me if there were any discarded units of the N51, and yes, there is at least one discarded unit. He was originally going to be a special anti-tank role, and he had a stylized Sphera helmet, but I decided to scrap that because maybe that was a little too over-specialized.
Too over-specialized. And you already had like an anti-armor unit in the face of like a mortar, so, you know.
That's not really anti-armor. That's more like anti-infantry. That's he's kind of like a walking IFV.
Well, yeah, but you can just give him a gun that also works against vehicles, and you can fulfill that role just as well, taking out light vehicles at least. You can't say
Light
like
vehicles,
you can't say like a 40mm automatic grenade launcher wouldn't be effective against cars.
Oh, it is, but high explosive weapons are usually ineffective against heavier armor.
Yeah,
you
like
want
tanks.
something that's like a kinetic warhead.
Yeah, but like against like an APC, it getting pelted with 40mm will definitely fuck up the people inside.
It'll get hot for them.
And they're like, oh guys, I love it when it gets so hot, my skin's bubbling, and I literally feel nothing but pain. It's just like being back at school. Maybe that hit too close to home for some people.
And the squid also asks how hard it was making all those angles for subjugation. Well, you'd be surprised to know that it was down to a science, so it really wasn't that difficult making all of those angles, because there is a lot of clever tricks that I use to cut down on the work.
Very funny tricks.
I'll show you some funny trick.
We have to be careful because or else I'm kind of crazy. I would literally be able to quote the entire episode verbatim exactly with pronunciations and timing. So let's not do that. For those that know what I'm talking about, I love you.
So High Roller has clarified this question, asking how their origin came to be, and how he heard some say that they were from the U.S. military, but some say they form on their own. That depends on what kind of canon you are looking at.
Yeah,
because
let
Max
me clarify. So, in my interpretation of the universe, they're a remnant of the United States military that were present in Nevada during the early events of the Madness series. In other canons, they formed on their own, or just kind of like they are definitely inspired after the United States military, but they're not literally the United States military. In Max 2, they are though.
Since Project Nexus 2 is not set in the Nevada we know today, their origins can't really be based off of that.
Yes.
But if they were, Max 2 is how it would go.
Maxification 2. I think they're kind of cool. In case people were like, they're at Area 51 and 51. Gee, let me look on Google real quick just to make sure. You know, those people.
Just to make sure that he didn't copy the map of Area 51 verbatim.
I kind of did. I mean, that was kind of the point, because it's literally supposed to be Area 51. Like, it's not just inspired, there's not hyperbole there. Like, it's got to be ground into your face like powdered glass and a baby. Okay, that went too far. I apologize.
Goodness, what is wrong with you?
But, yeah, it needs to be obvious for people, because there's a lot of people, like they literally need it spelled out from, like, well, N51, that's Area 51. The layout's literally perfectly identical to the airfield and the mountains, but I don't know, it's still pretty vague to me. There's just people like that.
I thought M51 was part of the Coca-Cola company.
The what now?
Coca-Cola.
Is that a reference to Darksignal's line of work when he programs Coca-Cola vending machines to explode?
Sure. Makes robots out of them.
Mr. Roboto. That's actually a pretty good song.
Alpha wants to know what the name of the current unit you're animating is.
He's not a regular unit. His name's Casper. He's one of the 3 ammo leaders that shows up in the movie.
The 3
like
kings.
The friendly ghost.
The 3 wise kings. So basically, each one specializes in a different aspect of combat. Casper here is basically like a mage, like an RPG equivalent. He's a psychic. Melchior is the ninja you saw in the museum. He's obviously melee. And then Balthazar hasn't shown up yet, although I do have his sprites. He's the laser face guy, even though I still want to touch him up some more. You can see like the neck isn't finished and some other shit I want to work on. I want to add more pipes and refurbish the head.
Dan D16 asks, what's the crash count thus far?
Actually, I have... I don't know, I don't have the crash count overall, but I have a crash count counting, shit that happened this year so far. Let me find it real quick.
Wasn't it 28 so far?
Let me check. I have it in the... We have, a server for our teammates, and I keep a tally for every crash that happens. Thankfully, Dropbox allows for convenient print screening that doesn't depend on my CPU not melting. Scrolling. It is 29. 29 crashes just this year. Now, if we were to take that on average for the entirety of last year, I guess that'd be maybe 150-ish, 160. And it's not an exaggeration, I honestly do have that many. Flash is just not built to handle a couple dozen sprites moving around on flat-colored backgrounds. For a professional program that's intended to be sold to like billion-dollar studios, it cannot handle something as simple as that without completely breaking down. I unironically don't understand how a formal studio could even use these. Like, I can understand how they could use CS6 because it's far more reliable, but I do not understand just at all how a company can use like Adobe Animate. And I mean that sincerely. I don't understand. Like, $1 million studio, and then oops, it crashed and we lost everything, corrupted everything. Oops, there it goes. Poof. Like, that can't happen when you're working like an actual show. You wouldn't even be able to sell your product then, so I don't understand how that even works. Like, very genuinely, I don't understand how they even manage to stay in business. At least when it comes to, like, Adobe Animate. That's maybe why only 2 people currently are on the team to work on updates.
The answer? Blood money.
Money, money, money. Is the music at the right volume for everyone in the stream? You guys hear it okay and our voices are on? Fuck. I hate allergies so much.
Jsoull, is that Scythe holding a gun? The
What?
2017, like, Scythe
Oh,
for
oh,
Elon.
no. Oh, that looks like it because I don't know why the fuck the gun's over there. Maybe it got mixed around with a bunch of other shit. No, it's not. This is just shit I did. And even then, this is really outdated. I gotta patch that up.
Just imagine that floating around, holding that thing, shooting people.
Well, guns are not the specialty of spooky Egyptian wizard people.
The Scythe's got a gun!
I still like the brushwork I did here, but I need to touch it up and add highlights and shit and make it look a little nicer. Also fix the bottom so it doesn't look like a curled up piece of paper or like a dog turd. I think the rest of it looks alright, but I do want to sincerely touch it up. Fuck you, auto recovery, let me work! Auto recovery never works anyways. It always breaks. Like, you're lucky if it saves everything.
I'll save myself.
Currently Animate is at... Let's do a quick check. The memory leak. Where did I put the...
Looks like a slug at the bottom.
Good. I love slugs so much. So, update on CPU usage. You can see we increased by quite a few megabytes, as you can see.
Actually, I can't.
Oh, well, you'll see it in the stream momentarily.
Yeah, it's kind of far back.
So we started about there, here, there. So we're increasing steadily. Usually it starts to crash around when it gets to like around 10 million kilobytes. So see how that goes.
We have a question from Dan D16. He asks, how long does it take on average to make a spray, Jsoull?
Well, you're gonna need to be specific because that depends on this. But like these guys took a lot more work overall because of just how complicated they are. And I do have full turnaround angles for Melchior here. Casper, I've been making them as I go along, alongside OK Gross, because his design's just also really complicated and kind of hard. And this is actually the scrap design for Casper was originally going to look like this. It's going to have like this kind of robotic eye, but I want to reuse some of these elements for Balthazar. I want to get rid of the old robotic brain he has, and I'll put like a lot of that shit in there because I think it looks neat. Also because I was just kind of proud of the original design. I thought it looked okay. Average character sprites though, not counting these really detailed leaders, at least take like a couple days to do full turnarounds on them. I mean, considering that I'm also animating at that same time and also working on other shit. Weapons, I could usually get it done like a couple a day, but it depends what kind of weapons. Like big complicated ones are obviously going to take a lot longer. Like this took me about a day or so to make because it's a lot more complicated than just like a tiny little pistol. You know, full grains, highlights, shading, depth. It's all the different little moving parts, like the slide actually moves. I have frames for the ejection ports also. And I make them, like unlike the base Madness sprites, I make them in several parts so they can get like battle damage and broken and get blood splattered on them. Also made so the actual handle is movable, so it can actually be carried. Like that's what this part's actually supposed to be for, like you see on a lot of actual machine guns.
Another question. What inspired you to make up these armor sprites? Also, they look awesome.
Thank you. Now,
From Rico.
my inspiration for ammo comes from a couple different sources. Partially from the ammo color scheme comes from the Japanese self-defense forces from the end of Evangelion movie. The kind of purple BDUs they wear, which were kind of like purpley blue. That looks kind of weird. I like them, and I used that color. They also had some crimson kind of markings and insignia that inspired the original kind of crimson stripes, but also just like crimson. Actually, no, their insignia were like yellow. The red ones I came up with myself. They're also partially inspired from the Illuminati offshoot from Deus Ex Majestic 12. Their guys have a kind of like dark bluish purple kind of armor sci-fi look. As for the specifics of the designs, like the visors and the sci-fi cyberpunk kind of touches, that's mostly just general inspiration because I just like cyberpunk sci-fi stuff. I can't really pin down exactly what I got the ideas from. I just like shit, and then I like to draw stuff that I like, and the results are these guys. And thank you very much for the compliment as well.
Necromancer asked, did you make weapons inspired on Halo? Because I saw one that looks like a Spartan laser.
Yes. Spartan laser. I think you mean like the assault rifle.
G11?
Oh no, the G11 doesn't look like a Spartan laser. What are you, crazy? You own crack?
Plus, there's
He's
also
talking about this one because this looks like the assault rifle from Halo, and yes, it is inspired from the assault rifle.
There's also the pistol as well.
Which I guess that one.
Like the Magna pistol that you made that was based off of.
Oh yeah, this was
Halo.
based on the Magnum from Halo. No, not the original, not Halo 1, because that slide was a bit bigger. It was like the one from Halo 4 was a bit smaller. But I do love the original Halo series very, very much.
Halo Infinite's a fucking piece of shit. Kill yourself.
Anyone who says it was released in an acceptable state is insane. That'd be like saying it's okay to release a movie when you only got done the first 10 minutes. An unacceptable state. And as a hardcore Halo fan, it was unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable to release it in the state that it was. I was waiting for this game for like a 10-year wait, and it's like, it comes out, and it's like, what the fuck have you guys been doing?
We have a question from Potk. Do you usually have a bunch of refs alongside making these sprites, or rather make them from memory? And this is a question for all of us, all three of us.
Well, I'll answer first, because I'm special and cool. I sometimes use refs, like, I'll use, like, tech refs, so, like, if I just want the general shape of something, I'll have some pictures around. Sometimes I make weapons entirely from scratch or from memory, like, the original G11, where the fuck is it? This was drawn from scratch along with the new one, but I used real-life references for the different variants, because there actually was different versions of the G11 before the program was canceled. It was like the G11 K1, K2. The K2 had the slanted kind of handguard and slightly different stock. K1 was like the more square one, and I prefer the K1. That's why the revamped G11 is based off that. This one was entirely from scratch, and I think I did a good job hybridizing my sci-fi aesthetic with a weapon that actually existed, because I think it looks pretty. Also, I like the G11 because, like my inspiration for ammo, it was the main weapon used by the JSSDF from End of Evangelion. And I think it looks cool. Same with the high point pistol. Even though I want to go back and give this like highlights and decals, which I thought I remember did. But I had them. One sec. The fuck, what layer is this on? I have all the layers unlocked and I can't do anything. What's happening? Where's the Chinese people? Oh, there we go.
Dark, would you like to answer Pot's question next?
I suppose that depends on what I'm drawing. If I have to draw something that's completely custom, then no, I usually don't have references on hand. But if I do, it's usually a 3D model that I can rotate so I can actually look at its perspective in the way I need it to.
And you, Cheese?
If it's weapons, yes, I usually have a reference, because I'm might be trying to do something specific. If it's like a real life gun, I would just trace over the image and go from there. As for characters, if I'm trying to do a character that's already made up, like let's say a Nexus agent, I would use a reference so I can know what they look like. Otherwise, if I'm making something completely new, sometimes I have something that I might take ideas from, or otherwise I just make it up as I go.
Congratulations. Wait, Cheese, you trace weapons? No one
Yes.
else does that but Crinkles. That means you're a thief.
That means I'm Crinkles too.
Crinkles 2, Electric Boogaloo. Genuinely though, your work
Electric
is very,
Boogaloo.
very good, Cheese. You should feel proud of yourself for your abilities.
Thanks, I spent 6 years in this community.
Crinkles 2, bullets through you.
You can't make death threats like that on the internet anymore, Dark. You go to jail. You'll go to prison for life.
How do you know that's not where I'm already calling from?
Well, because they wouldn't let you have a computer.
This is the third time Rodin is asking this question. Question for any of you. What's your opinion on stories which have factions that are slightly connected to a main story faction? For example, a faction does a very specific small job for the AHW.
You mean just like tangential stuff? Or I'm not really sure what the question is. Like, what do you really mean by that? I'm not sure if he means like in terms of like plot or narrative or just like the fact that they're featured at all. What do you think he means, Cheese? Or does he mean
Like-
nothing at all? And he's just a ghost.
I don't know, some guy delivering something for the AHW, I guess.
Oh, that
Uh,
more from that one incident?
Help me out here.
No, I
Are
remember.
you talking about Incident 101 where somebody was delivering a package for them?
I think that's might be what he's talking about. Yeah.
And it turned out to be a clown birthday surprise?
No,
Happy
stripper-
birthday!
no, instead of a stripper bursting from a cake. But then, obviously, Crinkles couldn't show that because there's no women in Nevada.
No women, no children, no men. Only monsters.
Monsters.
Only Clay.
How about I grab your throat, Cheese? Actually, you didn't say anything bad enough for me to say something like that. I apologize.
You better. Buddy boy.
Buddy boy? I'm not your buddy.
I'm not your friend.
You can't say that. I am your friend, Cheese.
If I like you, you can call me Sarge. But guess
guess
what?
what?
I don't like you. Do you understand?
Fallout 2 has some of the best writing in the series. That's why Fallout 3 sucks.
That was my first Fallout game.
Fallout 3 is an okay game, but if you compare the writing to the previous games, it's not that good. The gameplay is way better, because to be fair, Fallout 1 and 2 play like Minesweeper on crack in terms of accessibility. But in terms of writing, Fallout 2 and Fallout 1 are objectively better. Like, objectively. I'm sorry. Vegas. That's why everyone loves Vegas so much, because Vegas got back the original writers from Fallout 1 and 2. Even though the game is horrifically, ungodly, buggy, and broken, people still love Vegas over 3 just because of the writing. It goes a long way. Let me set up another album. Actually, no, it's already playing through another one. Never mind. Forgot I had a second Woob album on here.
So Rodin has added on to his question, making it a bit more simplified.
Alright.
That he's referring to a custom faction he had made which handled zombies and abominations in other places that aren't Nevada.
Alright.
And then in parentheses, who get their stuff from the Nexus and AHW. So
There
like,
is only Nevada.
So like a company funded by them, I presume.
Alright. So, like, he's just asking if, like, shit like that exists in Max 2 universe?
Well, considering that the Nexus is an enterprise and AHW were one of their biggest clients, I wouldn't be surprised if there were others that were doing work for them. In fact, Max 2 already has a couple of subsidiaries like Diorthos and NewTab.
Yeah,
Hey, that's me.
Nexus already has some shit going on with that. Fucking hit the keyframe, Flash, Jesus. But yeah, Nexus already has shit that they delegate to some smaller groups. Like the Orthos units are like the really, like they're basically exclusively safe for being the Phobos's and Nexus's Royal Guard. Really expensive
Yes.
units that are really, really, really deadly.
The no bullshit group.
Basically, like when they show up, that's when you should just pop a cyanide pill because it's better than whatever they got in store for you. They'll take their time with you. Razor blades, fucking blow torches, pliers. They'll go medieval on your ass.
We have a question from Jollybag. That
Okay.
being, is Ammo's unit roster as overly specialized as N51's? Or is it a more general hierarchy?
I'll say N51's
Like
more general
AHW.
because N51's more general because they got more like all-rounder units like the Brawlers and the Commandos that are more flexible. Ammo's way too specialized for their own good. That's why they needed N51's help. Like Ammo's really good with dealing with like low, like facing lower populations of really dangerous enemies versus like larger populations of like less dangerous. Like they're not good against going against, like if Ammo went against a conventional army, they'd probably lose. Just due to the fact that they'd just be outgunned and outnumbered. But they're really, really good in their own element against OC characters and like really strong solo types.
Ammo is better suited on a tactical scale, while N51 is better suited on a strategic scale.
Mm-hmm.
This is why they had to be working together, because when you have the OCs and the Nexus as two parts of a problem, you needed each prong for the solution.
Prong. And then Phobos is
Rodin-
like, tee hee hee, I'm gonna win. He doesn't win.
Rodin has yet again.
How would you
specified
slap
his,
Rodin in the
question.
fucking face next time he asks a question?
He says he's asking for your opinion
On what?
on like on the factions funded by other companies, I believe, like smaller stores and whatnot.
I don't see why I would have any strong opinion one way or the other. It's just a faction that fits in the universe in a congruous way, and it's fine. Ugh. I mean, the fact that I'm using stuff like that in Max 2 obviously means that I don't hate it. I don't see why people would have reason to hate it.
Like as long as it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's the case with anything. Like, if there's like a faction that was like, I don't know,
They
something...
manufacture ponies.
Yeah, shit like that, then I'd say that's... Like, if you're making it your own universe, you can make whatever the hell you want. Like, there's no reason I would care or anyone else would care. But if you're trying to make it fit into, like, you know, like actual Madness lore, or like Project Nexus, then it has to at least make some sense to exist. Like, it'd be weird in the Madness universe if there's like a pickle factory somewhere and they just make regular pickles and there's just nothing else about it besides the fact that they just pickle pickles. And that's all they do. People would say
Who's
that's a
the owner?
very bizarre thing.
Who's the owner?
Your dad.
Oh God, I thought you worked at a printing company.
Too bad. And you just doxed your dad. Congratulations. I'm going to find the printing company he works at. I'm going to tell him to print something absolutely obscene that'll compromise his job security. And then you're going to have to work at Wawa like I did back in high school.
Oh.
You didn't know that about me?
No, I don't even know who you are.
Go to hell, Cheese. I hate you. I actually love you. You're a cool guy. I like spending time with you.
I'm gonna eat your cat.
What? I don't even have cats. Your threat goes nowhere. Just as your life
Not,
goes nowhere.
not if you adopted a cat while you were sleeping last night. Mysteriously.
I think this is why you're in the Madness community, Cheese.
So long.
That's why you're here. That's why we're all here. That's why whenever...
leave!
No, Crinkles won't let you leave. He's like, no, Cheese, I need you to make weapon sprites for me because both the people I was going to have help me with sprites both died.
No, he hasn't asked me about that.
I'm actually shocked he hasn't. Actually, no, I'm not shocked.
I've offered my weapons to be something, but most likely he's just gonna make his own stuff anyways.
I mean, especially after twice in a row he got fucked by certain people. I could see why.
We got another question from Jellybag asking, was Phobos intentionally winning OCs over as a sort of defense by having them stick by as members of Nexus Society, or did the OCs just show up because Nexus was their best bet at a decent life?
I'd say it's definitely a mixture of both. They went to the city because it was their best bet at a decent life, and then Phobos knew it would be a good idea not to antagonize them and to keep them around, because they also act as like a, I guess, as a kind of meat shield, because in the act of them defending themselves from invaders, it'd also be helping the Nexus repel them overall. And that's one of the reasons why OCs are given like cushy kind of celebrity lifestyles in the city.
I mean, you probably don't want to go on the bad side of someone who can have ice power.
Yeah, like the people with superpowers and shit. You don't want to fuck around with that. I mean, it wouldn't be like that he's scared that the OCs would be able to like wipe him out. Because to be fair, at this point, Nexus is like at their peak of strength. Like they're at the level they were in Project Nexus 2 before they fell, I would say.
In fact, they've probably gone beyond that.
Well, yeah, because they've been completely unopposed for like about a century. Like, for clarification, in the Max 2 universe, the original events in the Madness series roughly took place in around the early 2000s. Like, so Madness 10 happened around, like, 2006 or 7, probably. So this movie takes place in, like, 2106 or some shit. I don't know, 2110, something like that. It's been a really long time.
In 2077.
No! You fucking asshole! Don't you dare mention that game. That game also disappointed me greatly. I'm happy I didn't fucking pre-order it.
A question from Poland Ball fan. Would Phobos himself appear in this movie, since this is a verse where 1.5 doesn't happen?
Yeah, he does show up in the movie. He has a big fight near the end. And 51's main goal is actually going to just kill him and take over the city. Ammo's main goal is just killing all the OCs they find, and making preparations for something that happens later.
Two-pronged problem, two-pronged solution.
Exactly.
Will Phobos press a button and become God?
No, dissonance doesn't exist in this universe. This Max 2 runs off like the OG Madness rules of improbability.
They're kind of one and the same.
I guess, but they're very visually different and different in terms of like how they're accessed. Like back in OG Madness, it was more like improbability is more like coding the world to your whim, versus dissonance, which is kind of like more like magic overall.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah, it's the difference between like the Matrix and like a magic system like Harry Potter, I think. That doesn't mean you can't use dissonance for technology, but dissonance is like as it's presented is mostly like more mystical, magical, versus like treating the world as code, like how it is in OG Madness. And I just prefer
Madness celebrated.
I mean, I just prefer improbability madness versus dissonance madness. That's just personal taste.
Well, it's more in the presentation than what it actually is.
I suppose so. Like, if improbability was shown off as magic, then that'd be completely different, but improbability original series is shown to be done through people who have improbability drives, which are shown to just code reality directly. Versus dissonance, which in the games is literally used for like magic attacks and shit. Like,
I'm thinking more of that coding stuff is more reserved for the other side of Project Nexus, which is the nowhere.
But as if we're gonna have Crinkles sit down and then talk dead to the webcam 60 hours later and explain exactly how everything works in every possible way, every single line of code that goes into making Nevada work. No.
Well, where's the fun in that?
Well, that wouldn't be fun at all. That's why he's not gonna do it, because he also doesn't want to waste his time. Ah, delicious. Nothing's better than fried chicken and iced tea.
Because in fact, the nowhere and the other place are kind of opposing diametrics. They're kind of like antimatter to one another.
Good, because I hate them both.
But hating them both is hating everything that is matter.
Why do you think I'm trying to end madness forever?
You won't. Because no matter how hard you nail that coughing shut with this movie, there are still gonna be people who are making animations to match.
There's gonna be people like, oh, I'm gonna make Maxification 3 fucking the final Maxim, and I'm gonna have to find them and actually hurt them very bad. I'll hurt them so harshly to the point where the police won't even attempt an investigation, just out of principle of not wanting to get involved.
Joyveg asks, given dissonance is not a thing in this universe, does that mean that the state of abominations and other dissonance-based characters comes from improbability?
I mean, there were abominations before improbability. I'm sorry, there were abominations before like dissonance was a thing. Like, remember, abominations were in fucking 1.5. That's before dissonance was a thing. So they're just made through some other means. In Max 2, they're more just like test subjects for injecting improbability shit into and a bunch of Nexus tech to turn them into just guard dogs that rip people apart and shoot lasers.
Just jamming needles into people and seeing where the bullseye is.
Exactly. Abominations in the Nexus core, at least as they show up here, are more just like test subjects for implanting weapon systems into people and turning them into just living fucking meat machines.
And we can see how that turned out.
Pew pew. I mean, well, to be fair, you haven't seen the full scene. These guys actually did a pretty decent job.
Dan D16 questions us all, how much do you spend animating / creating sprites on a daily basis, and how do you avoid burnout?
I'd say most of the spare time I have in a day. Like, keep in mind, I have an actual, like, full-time job I do during the week. And I have other things I need to attend to as a human being, like, eating food, getting groceries, taking care of animals. I'm actually going to be getting some chickens to take care of soon, mostly because of the impending world food crisis. And having chickens on standby would be a good idea, so I can get a steady supply of eggs for breakfast. Also, it's more just to help keep my mind out of the gutter, because taking care of chickens can be a therapeutic experience. As for avoiding burnout, it's hard to say. Like, there's never really a point where I feel like I don't want to work on the movie. Anytime where I have spare time where I'm not doing anything else, I usually work on it. That doesn't mean I literally do nothing but work on it, because then I'd literally drive myself insane. The movie would suffer greatly from that. There's sometimes where I play games, sometimes where I hang out with friends in real life. Sometimes where I just go out to have lunch. But most of my spare time when I'm not working is towards the project or working on things for the project, I would say. I can't really give an estimate, like solid hours in a day. I would say like at least, like bare minimum, like 4 or 5 hours towards animation or making sprites or doing scene layouts or working with the sound effects with Syntrix and fucking Citrix. Citrix and Syntrix are two different people, and their fucking names always confuse me.
They're sound people.
Yeah, they're both sound people. Citrix does stuff for the actual Official Madness series, and Syntrix is a Russian guy I work with who's really cool. He's been helping a lot with some custom sound effects, but both Syntrix and Citrix have been helping with sounds for Max 2. So even if I'm not spending like every hour I'm working on the movie animating, I'm doing something with it. Or else I just feel like I'm wasting my time, because I want to genuinely get this done as soon as I can, but at the same time I need to not compromise my own physical and mental health, and I can't compromise the actual quality of the movie by like just trying to rush through as fast as I can. That doesn't mean I'm slowing my feet because I'm a loser. That just means I want to make sure that every scene has the maximum amount of quality and love and character. I don't want to just have a scene for the sake of having a scene to fill time. I want everything to feel important. Like, I'm not wasting the viewer's time. Because one thing I did learn, a very good lesson that White Hank Zero taught me, was you can have a Madness movie that is too long. Because White Hank Zero, while every scene in it is really well made, fantastic action, it fucking drags past the half-hour mark. And just becomes a complete slog. And even though everything past that is still really well done, it doesn't really matter, because at that point, as just a viewer, you're completely burned out on the action, and it's just going in one eyeball, out the brain, and out the back of your head. Like, you're just not even paying attention to it. Even though the action's great, you're not really seeing it as great because you've been seeing action non-stop.
So in other words, it's poorly paced.
It's poorly paced because it's just a non-stop action scene for 45 minutes. And there's a reason that real-life movies don't do that. Like, there's a reason that films traditionally keep action scenes short and sweet. In Max 2, the action's broken up by smaller pauses of scenes where you see other things happen in the Megaplex. That doesn't mean there's going to be like an 8-minute scene where you have someone monologuing over nothing happening. But there's going to be scenes where you see stuff relevant to what is going on, just going on. But it won't be action outright. Like, you'll see characters trying to get somewhere, you'll see, like, equipment being moved around. Like, how in the residential sector, how after that huge tank battle, there's kind of like a calm before the storm. You see the camera goes up the megaplex, and then you see Phobos is looking down the residential sector as the invasion's going on. Like that, like little pauses like that in between the action scenes really help a lot for the pacing. Helps it not blend together so much.
Me and Dark haven't answered Dan D16's part of the question.
Answer his fucking question immediately.
Dark, you go first.
Okay, let's see. How much do I spend animating, creating sprites on a daily basis, and how to avoid burnout? Well, those can be answered by those have the same kind of answer to them. Because madness isn't the only interest I pursue, there are other things that I do, and usually to avoid burnout, I just cycle to what seems interesting at the time. And eventually I cycle back to madness, and then eventually I cycle off of it, and that just continues in a random order.
So Darksignal is slightly different from me. For me, it's like I work on it non-stop, but just in different amounts throughout every day, versus like stopping working on it outright to do something else.
This is where we have another one of those yin-yang situations, because Jsoull can hyper-focus on something, meanwhile, I just have to find something new to do every few weeks or so.
Hyper-focus. And what about you, Cheesy McSqueezy?
I don't do animation often because
Fuck you, asshole!
I lose motivation working on it sooner or later.
I know, but your movies were looking really good when you were working on them.
I guess.
What do you mean you guessed? They looked good and you fucking gave up on them. Made me want to strangle you until your fucking eyes popped out of your head.
Because I didn't want to work on them anymore at the time.
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo-hoo.
For creating sprites, I guess daily, maybe an hour at least, or less.
At least.
Yesterday I did work on remaking some N51 Delta sprites I had done years ago, and it took maybe 3 hours to completely do the heads and bodies, which is like 20-something sprites themselves.
20 sprite cells.
Yeah. And as for avoiding burnout, I don't.
And you just
It'll
get
happen
you just get
sooner or
burned
later.
out outright.
Yeah, usually
Just let it happen.
Usually I'm like, I do stuff for a while, and then there's this big space of not doing anything because I don't feel like doing anything in Flash. And eventually I'll want to do something again, like N51, for example, and start doing those.
He's been remaking the sprites to an impeccable degree.
If I'm ever interested in doing something, I usually go to doing it immediately because I'm motivated to work on it. The sooner the better.
Can't let it go to waste.
Yeah. That's my answer.
Can we render this out real quick to see how it looks? Because I can't tell how smooth it is from playback. Because it's running at like, let me actually take a look. I can actually see how many frames per second it's running when I'm trying to do playback. And keep in mind, this is playback set to fast with no anti-aliasing, and it's still running like shit. Fucking publish already, holy shit. So I've been on 70% for the last 20 minutes. There we go. Okay, so when I try to play this back, it plays at about 6 to 9 FPS. Now it's down to 8. Yeah, it hangs around 9 FPS. And my movies are played at 30, so that's kind of a problem for being able to tell how smooth something is. I gotta open up Swivel. And fuck Swivel, because I can't skip the intro, even though I've been using this program for like 4 years. There's no option to get rid of the fucking intro. It's cute, it goes swivel, 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 dun, dun. But after you listen to it 100 times, it makes you want to go deaf.
I still kind of like it.
Oh, I hate you, Darksignal. Next time I see you in person, we're going to fight each other on top of a tall building in a really dangerous way.
It's like Max 2.
Is it going to be in Philadelphia?
No, I have to do that with Crinkles in Philadelphia.
Well, you know, it would save some travel expenses if you had it all in the same plate.
Good point.
I would
Okay.
be like the disc 1 mini boss, and then Swain would be the final boss.
No, Kringles is the final boss. Swain would be too busy cooking fucking dinners to actually fight. Okay, I'm running it on right now. We're gonna see how it looks. Mango Man asked how Project Reclamation is going. Oh, we got some hot words, but I don't think we want to say them here.
What was Reclamation?
That's the expansion to Project Nexus 2. Released like the project, basically like a white paper of it. We showed off a lot of art and
marketing
I
bit.
remember.
yeah, it was basically like the marketing pitch. And
What is going on with that?
well, progress would be made on it. We have basically everything we would need to get into full development, but there's one hair in the soup that's kind of out of our hands currently, but we're eventually going to have to probably do ourselves, because I don't think it's ever going to be done by the person who's supposed to be doing it. And no, I'm not
Mod
referring
tools?
to someone in the call.
Is it mod tools?
Yes, there are still no mod tools officially in the game whatsoever for injecting custom assets, which is a big problem for a full expansion pack that would include a shit ton of custom content. Like, this wouldn't be just like remixing shit and recoloring it. Like, we're talking about whole new units, whole new gear, new level geometry, weapons, sounds, music, everything. Like, it's a full-on expansion pack for the game that at least take a couple hours to beat. And as of right now, there is no way to be able to get that content into the game file so we can even get started. We've been waiting for Swain to do that, but Swain's been too busy cooking like chicken dinners and like fermenting meats.
Truthfully,
Chicken dinner.
the whole reason they've been busy is because they're prepping translation of the game into other languages.
Couldn't they just get people to do that free?
We already have some people who are translating the game itself. What I'm talking about is them actually programming the framework to make that compatible.
Is that really worth holding back like mod tools for the 90% of English people that are going to be playing the game though?
No, because that's not the only thing they've been doing. Meanwhile, they've also been investigating their multiplayer capabilities.
The issue with that's a fucking problem is because the game wasn't made to have multiplayer from the ground up. So trying to add it later is like, it's like trying to tie a knot with no fingers.
I didn't say it was for Project Nexus.
Oh yeah, weren't they going to make like another game or something?
They might be.
Project Nexus.
Yeah, I think it might be because they realized having conventional like Steam multiplayer in Project Nexus 2 is kind of impossible because they made basically the entire game without having that in mind. Like, you could do local multiplayer through like Steam Play, I think, or like Steam Share, but you can't like, yeah, you can do it through a remote play. That works okay, but you can't play like online with other people conventionally. Which I do think. Now, I don't want to bust the team's balls because they worked really fucking hard, but I do think that was a mistake, and they should have considered the fact that people would want to play with their friends online. Like, especially in this day and age, that's kind of just something to be expected.
There's definitely going to have to be a lot of undoing getting this translation thing over, because while we have a couple of big languages getting translated as we speak, there is also the problem of having to make the framework because a lot of the stuff was put purely into the scenes themselves. So now a lot of that is going to have to be rewritten from language files.
Yeah, actually,
to be referred from it.
Let me show off some of the some concept art from Reclamation real quick. Some stuff that wasn't shown off in the dossier, and a lot of shit that people here probably never saw. Because it's cool stuff. We worked with B-Boy and XTNT, and I think we got some concept art from. We also worked with Dark and a few other people for doing some stuff. I think Cheese also did some concepts for some units.
No.
I don't
think
recall.
so. No, I did.
Cheese,
I
you did,
one
remember?
for one character.
You did for the ammo
For the-
seer.
Yeah.
When ammo was actually going to be in there before we decided to get rid of them because they didn't really fit.
Oh.
One sec. I'll drop some of the unit concepts in here.
So what's gonna happen to the seer then?
I'm still gonna. Well, I mean, the seer is like spiritually continued in Casper, I would say.
Let's not
Except
be
we don't get to
saved.
hear any of his crazy dialogue.
I guess so. Well, the spirit does live on in the game, but he won't be like the full on like enemy unit. He just kind of shows up as an ATP in a way. It's hard to say.
Or something.
Or something. I'll show off some concept art in here done by B-Boy for the mod, in case the mod never gets done because Swain decides to never ever add mod tools for the rest of his life, forcing fucking XDefault and Darksignal to reverse engineer the entire game from scratch just to do it, which is probably what's gonna
By
happen.
the way, spoiler alert, B-Boy does great artwork.
Yeah, B-Boy is a fucking beast of an artist. He is so cool that I love him. I would give him a kiss on the lips if I met him in person. He's been a great guy to work with, and he's done the majority of the concept art for Reclamation.
Are you sure you want to be importing this in Flash while you are on a limited time limit?
You mean because of the memory leaks?
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a look at the memory leak progress.
What's the timeline?
It's actually hanging steady right now, so I think we're safe. But yeah, here's some concept art.
All those open tabs make me nervous.
But basically, at one point during the mod, you would encounter like an old, not abandoned, but like a decrepit AHW base. You'd actually come across some old Mark III mag agents, and here's some concepts that were done for them. I really like all of them, to be honest, but I think we would end up probably going with a mix between Riot and Ribcage, because I like the metallic arms and the armored look of Ribcage especially.
Ribcage's like head area is pretty sick. The head area of Ribcage is pretty sick.
Yeah, he looks really, really heavily armored. That's why I really like him. And I like the full robot cyber arms of Riot. So it'd probably be a mix of those two. It'd be better for making Mag V3 the experimental kind of weird mag that he's supposed to be if we gave him like articulated arms. I think that'd be kind of neat.
And it might cut into the thunder of some of the other bosses.
Oh yeah, you mean like this guy with the full arm?
Who now?
Crabroid. This motherfucker.
Oh, well, yeah, him too.
Dark, would you like to explain about the origin of some of these mutants?
Which ones?
Just in general, like how they're showing up and why. You can get into as much detail as you wish.
Okay, well, since the stream is on a delay, I can't tell which mutants you're talking about.
Give me a second. I'll destroy my CPU usage by showing my screen. Here you go. Hopefully this doesn't cause the stream to get destroyed.
We hear the beginning of an explosion, then he leaves.
Okay, well, if we're talking about Crabroids here, he actually wasn't intended to be so much of a boss, so much as he was going to be one of the new enemies, because it was going to be like a cross between an evolution of the Abomination and something that's been seeping in from underneath the Nexus City.
So you're gonna be seeing stuff that was a mix between like Mag Hank's mutations and the stuff like a little bit of the stuff you saw with like the Abominations and the center units.
You kind of already see it with the Odium Abominations that you face in Project Nexus itself.
Yeah, but we were playing more to like these really chaotic, like full mutants, and eventually you'd be finding units that were like really, really, really deeply mutated by dissonance energy. Like you see these guys, their whole bodies are basically like weaponized into these different forms.
Like Null and Pincushion.
Oh yeah, I want to show off Pincushion. I fucking love that guy. I really like Roll Cage and Crab Knuckles here the most, I would say. Roll Cage.
A lot of alternate parts would have to be built for the different combinations that these different mutations would take.
Obviously, but that's kind of the part of having a fun roster of, enemy variety. These would be pretty fun guys. We wanted to provide, like my main point of contention why we have so many enemy variants. I wanted the expansion to feel like it's giving a new, not in terms of just gameplay because it doesn't play like regular Project Nexus, but also just in terms of the enemies you face being like really new and having to approach them differently than you would in the base
I
game.
still wanted to have the old look of Project Nexus though. I still want it to feel like it's an expansion of the game and not just a completely different one.
Yeah, I want that too, but I do want it to also feel like a step in a new direction in terms of like you're facing new enemies you have to actually fight differently than you would in the base game.
You get a face of old and new.
Yes.
Like at one point you're bouncing between the mercs and then later you are going up against these kind of monstrosity.
It'd be a good kind of progression of evil.
And then you fight God.
Well,
You already fought a god wannabe in the main campaign.
Yeah,
Fight him
wannabe.
again.
Wannabe god.
Can't.
Isn't he like dead?
Yes.
Oh, let me show off Pincushion because he's my favorite. I actually might
Gone forever.
use Pincushion as a concept in Max 2 for something later. Because I just really like him that much.
Mohawk's pretty cool.
I love Mohawk, but I fucking love Pincushion. He's my favorite.
Look at all those anime belts.
Fuck.
I'm pretty sure I saw this guy in the Saw games.
Maybe.
I imagine he just blasts out like a porcupine.
Yeah, these guys would be like kind of exploding bomb enemies. You can shoot them, pop them like balloons, and they shoot spikes everywhere, and they can cause a chain reaction, or they cause a bunch of them to pop at once. Aren't there like units in Command and Conquer that are like that? Like suicide bomb guys that are kind of the same, where like you can cause a chain reaction if you hit them at the right time?
I don't know. I know there's a bunch of bomb enemies in a bunch of RTS games. Like Supreme Commander had the walking bomb, which is inspired from the same thing from Total Annihilation.
Delicious. But yeah, these guys would be like more human-ish or grunt-ish sized abominations you'd face. Each one
They'd be a
obviously-
little bigger, probably.
Yeah, but
just
each
to
one-
have them be more imposing. Mohawk
one-
for sure is definitely going to get some more damage from those freaking hand blade.
Yeah, I want to say, like, Mohawk looks fucking gnarly with these spikes coming out of his face cavity. Like, Jesus Christ.
He could impale you with his head. He'd probably have a headbutt too.
I mean, look at his head overall. He'd probably swing his head around like it's a knife or a blade,
It's a scythe.
basically. And we got Arm here, which is kind of like a smaller version of Crabroid from earlier. But
I would imagine that Arm would be the kind of guy that tears chunks out of the ground and throws them at you.
probably, and he probably jumps around by using his arms like a catapult.
Tank!
Fuck! No, that wouldn't be like a tank. Not left for loser.
He wouldn't be as tanky, no.
Yeah, he's still soft and squishy, but obviously the mutated kind of crabby, stiff parts would be more resistant to bullets. But they're a fun bunch. And I'll show off some of the deserter guys too. What show off all of them? Show off a couple.
Hey, Jeremiah's asking, how can I get that song? I
Yes.
presume the one that's currently playing.
I mean, you see the name and you see the artist. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't think we can understand what the name is.
Wheezy, just look up the artist's name, Woob, and then you can find the album. He only has like 3 albums. Just look it up, and you could get it off Bandcamp for like $1. I think he has like pick your own price for his albums. Just buy it for $1. I mean, I gave him 5 because I love his music so much. It's so delicious. So, Dark, which N51 unit, or not N51, but what deserter unit do you want to show here? The officers, assassins.
I'm not really interested in showing them.
Oh, can I at least show off the commandos? They're my favorites.
Sure.
Pretty please.
Pretty please. These guys. These would basically be like N51 deserters and really old remnants that you'd face.
I really don't want to call them N51 deserters. That was never really the point of calling them deserters in the first place.
Fuck! Well, explain what you want to explain about them now that they're here.
The deserters are basically just for anybody that abandoned their cause, and most of them have been trained by a very specific deserter by the name of Alistair.
Who was from N51.
The only one to desert N51 and live to tell about it.
And a lot of their equipment, or at least the design details I gave B-Boy when he made these, was the idea like it's a lot of old scrapped gear that had to be remixed with other shit just to keep working. Or like really, really old stuff that they've also just modified themselves.
I definitely like Breaker and Monster here. I would use them for the deserter Enforcer.
I like
think
Avian a
you-
lot as a sniper.
I think I like Avian and Monster out of all these.
Yeah,
The
I
deserters really wouldn't have any specialized roles. They would follow a more general hierarchy like the AHW does, where they're more modular in practice.
I guess so, but that doesn't mean we can't have a sniper unit here and there, or like at least a marksman.
Yeah, but I don't really see Avian as the marksman type.
Fuck. I guess it's because he looks the most lightweight out of all of them. He's got big eyes like an owl.
Come on, Avian. They go up in the high places and snipe.
Bird
Breaker
people.
looks like he could take a few shotgun rounds.
Monster looks like he's gonna fucking rip your head off.
I would
looks
like
like he's
the
gonna
monster
strike your
head
head,
put
but you-
together with the Breaker body, because Breaker actually has some foot armor too.
Yeah, I just really like Monster's mask. It looks so thick, like it can take just 50 caliber rounds and they'll bounce off.
It sort of looks like a Hannibal Lecter mask.
Perhaps.
You know, I hear that name all the time, and I still don't know who it is.
He's from Silence of the Lambs, psychological horror movie.
Put the lotion in the basket guy?
Yeah, no. That was the guy that they're trying to catch by interviewing.
A serial killer?
Yeah, by interviewing another serial killer to find out more about his mentality. Hannibal Lecter was the guy they interview about it. Hello, Clarice. That guy. And of course, you can't have assassins without 2 sets of ass.
Before we
Both
go on to
cheap.
that, we have 2 questions that need to be answered.
Go ahead.
One is from Obsoletor, which is, alright, I'm not sure if you guys already answered this question, but for MD 2021, what animations do you guys think should have won first place? I'd like to hear all your guys' opinion.
Probably Black Berserk, number 1.
Ditto.
Yeah, Black Berserk, definitely. Black Berserk, the Madness 5 remake was shockingly good, I would say. I wasn't sure about another team handling it, because Kree's team did the Madness 2 remake Redeemer really, really well. But no, like the Depredation remake guys, they did a fantastic job. Let me actually grab my original review real quick. I know for as sure as shit, fucking Guys Night Out did not deserve at all to be first place. That's ridiculous. No disrespect to the guys that made it, but it getting first place in the face of like all these other movies is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Guys Night I really didn't like. The Depredation remake was fantastic. Rush City was really good. Project Kreber, while it's kind of rough around the edges, I think overall is a really, really good movie, especially like when you take into consideration like how much Podke had improved since the previous year. Like you compare this to what he released last Madness Day, it's a stratospheric leap in quality. I think on principle he deserved to get a better place just for how much he worked on that. And then of course we have Gabe's animation that was really good.
Unfortunately, I don't think Madness Day is considering previous entries.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why I was saying, like, for me, on principle, I would have ranked it very highly because of how much of an improvement. I mean, like, that's what I did on my review, partially, where I gave it such a high mark by comparison, was just because he did such a genuinely good job. Like, he was improving so much since the last year. And I like to support that kind of thing, because I've seen so many people just get worse over time because they just stopped giving a shit and stopped trying. But Poke kept trying and is really paid off. But Ross Perialization was pretty good. Cringe Hank was also really good. That definitely deserved to be in at least the top 3. Kilroy is always great every year. But Black Berserk definitely deserved to get number 1. And it got shafted hard by the judges, I would say. Would you agree, Darksignal?
I would say. I mean, there was so much in there without feeling like too much.
Yeah, like it really, really feels like a more refined Sonic Madness, less edgy Sonic Madness, with better quality overall, I will say. But I still like Sonic Madness, to be clear. I love it for the guilty pleasure of edge that it is. No, but very seriously, Black Berserk should have gotten first place. Absolutely.
Pringles was held hostage by Lily the Sam Nose fan 2011 to make Guys Night first place.
Who the hell's that?
I have no idea.
Maybe someone can explain what's going on. But yeah, Guys Night did not deserve first place. Like, it's a cute movie, but it's not really like a proper Madness movie. Like, effort was put into it. I like the visual style. Like, visually, I think it's very beautiful and very visually appealing. But as a Madness movie, it does not deserve to get first place. That's ridiculous. Black Berserk had way, way, way more effort put into it overall, and has a lot more to show. You have any thoughts on that, Cheese and Dark?
On Guys Night?
Yeah, about why you, like, your thoughts on it, or you think it should have gotten first place or 10th?
I mean, Madness Vandalization, the thing that Gabriel Barsh did, is above it in
Good.
terms of rating.
Well, of course it's above it because Gabe's a freaking celebrity around these parts.
Yeah, but still, so not all's bad.
He's got that entire backing behind him.
Well, Gabe knows how to make quality animations. Like, he has his style, and he pulls it off very well.
He's got that rapid fire comedy.
Yes, he has his pacing down to a science. Oh, my spinal cord. Oh.
I'm finding it's better to make people laugh than to have them in awe.
Make them cry and scream and beg. But,
We have another question.
Alright.
This is from Cry. Or Cree, whatever. Aren't you worried about detail inconsistency? Very detailed characters with complex shading on comparatively simple backgrounds with flat shadows. Because making backgrounds as detailed as the sprites would take forever.
Cree, I think you need to stop smoking your Polish crack pipe for a minute and remember that the backgrounds I'm working on aren't even fucking finished or shaded yet. And yes, I'm going to be making every background super detailed and cool, and I know how impractical that is, and I don't fucking care. Because I never want to have a moment where I'm like, I should have added that. And then I'm like, well, time to make Maxification 3.6. Every background will be super detailed, and everything will have that touch of personality and love. Because that's the amount of energy I need to put in a movie.
Who are you going to get to dedicate to that job?
Me? I love doing backgrounds, actually. I just don't like drawing rocks nonstop. Like, Artifact was a fucking... Like, I did all the animation first. I just, like, blocked in the backgrounds with basic shapes. Half the development was just me drawing rocks. Just drawing rocks.
Look at all these spiral rocks.
I have to draw all these spirally rocks and draw clouds and vector programs, and then... Yeah, basically.
Madness
that.
Rock Effect.
Rockification, and I did rocks before it was popular with Genmo, so that means I'm better than Crinkles in every possible way, and he should give me Madness Combat as franchise. I'm not
But
serious
you're
at
leaving.
all. I'm not serious at all when I say that. Just to clarify. What was the question again?
You
Well,
already
it's in the
answered it.
chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be detailing all the backgrounds. I want to give each sector its own little personal taste. I'll be going in and putting excruciating amounts of detail. Excruciating. To the point where I'm literally screaming. So don't you worry, Kree. You'll be screaming too when I'm done with you. Actually, Kree's a pretty cool guy. I like him. I worked with him a lot, and we actually were going to work on a co-op project together a while ago.
I was also gonna help.
Oh yeah,
with
cheese.
Sprite.
Like it was gonna be like a it was gonna be like a kind of like. I'm not even sure how to explain it. It's like noir meets World War One, like cyber World War One, if that makes any fucking sense. It was like sci-fi, like it was like sci-fi technology, like sci-fi like style, but with World War One tech. I would say.
I might be able to pull up the file with the sprites.
Yeah, go send it to me and I can show it off on the stream.
All right. Again, might be able to because.
I mean, I probably have some lying around somewhere too. The movie was gonna have a character sort of like Kree wanted the main character to be like Alucard from Hellsing Ultimate. It's gonna be going against some World War One style like sci-fi soldier dudes. And I remember actually I made some weapons for it as well. Like you and me both made weapons for it.
Yeah, I found it. I'll just put the file in chat.
Oh, cool. I'll bring it up here.
These are going to be bad guys.
Bad guys? Loading it up. Fucking
Yeah.
Firefox being a piece of shit like usual.
This is from 2018, by the way.
I know, it's old. This is back when we were working like Jailbreak or whatever. Oh, I remember them. Yeah, there's the helmets. I think I made a variant where the helmets were gonna have like little cards and other little like variants on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the base heads for the baddies, and then they're gonna have that armor actually looks pretty good, Cheese.
Thanks.
Like in terms of
I
composition.
completely forgot about it.
And yeah, so let's put a helmet on one of these guys. I guess they're gonna look like they're supposed to look like that about. There we go. Baddies would look like this.
Baloney.
They
asks-
kind of remind me of the mercenaries from Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Good, because that's a good movie.
Probably one of their best that they won't admit because it didn't have any musical number.
Yeah, because Disney just wants to be known for being explicitly corporate princess shellac, and they won't actually make anything interesting anymore. Lost.
Certainly not in this day and age when they own everything.
Yeah, when they made, actually think Lost Planet is one of their best movies, technically speaking and visually speaking. I think it's one of the most unique, definitely. Oh no, Treasure Planet, that was it. They like did like a sci-fi colonial style Treasure Planet, and that was like really cool. Almost delicioso. And Baloney, yeah, it was like a World War II Vietnam era thing. I wanted them to have like little playing cards, like maybe like a cigar tied to their helmet or something. Just add a little more personal detail. Because I like doing stuff like that. I like having the baddies feel like they're actually there instead of just bags of meat to get shot. But rounding back to this real quick. Here we got the deserter, assassin variants. We'd probably mix a couple elements from these. I like Diver and Rusty Gilly the most, probably.
I think they all look great.
I think, yeah, the designs, like, there's no design that I don't like outright. But there's ones that I think work best for the role more than others.
I think they're a little bit too dedicated towards looking like N51.
Fuck! Well, Gilly doesn't really look like an N51 unit, because the visor style doesn't really match anything they have. Like the slit vertical, like the horizontal visor, I mean.
The Overwatch.
Yeah, they don't really have that though. Like not like a block, and they don't
Only
like
on
Gilly
one
suit.
hat.
They do have a block. It's literally part of their visor. One half.
Yeah, but not like a big one. They don't have a ghillie suit. They just wear black. Like everyone. You can wear any color you want as long as it's black. And this guy has a
Yes,
necklace.
well, ghillie suits aren't probably going to translate over well as far as Unity technology goes.
Unity Engine is known to be a somewhat fickle beast. And I can't.
I know
wait-
I want to have the same kind of half rag style that the Mag Bandit does, which is kind of also seen in Utility Necklace Guy over there. I definitely want to have that for some of the Deserter loyalists.
Realistios. And then here's the ones that make Darksignal want to kill B-Boy at night.
I thought you weren't going to show these.
Well, I'm realizing that we may never have the opportunity to do this because Swain might make Project Nexus 3 instead of ever having mod tools. That and the
That's
fact
a
that
bit
these
of a
designs...
stretch.
Well, that and the fact that these designs would be likely highly hybridized and modified once put in the game, and they're not going to resemble this too closely.
Aren't these public as well, anyways?
Not really.
They
We
were in,
made a bunch
they
of
were in,
stuff
like,
public.
the,
We didn't make
page.
all of it public, though. And plus, people who were just interested in the expansion pack and haven't heard anything about it in like a year probably deserve to see this to see how much was behind it, in case we never do get around to making it.
High Rise and Terracotta are cool.
I like them. I like High Rise's mask the most.
I like how I like what Terracotta does with its rags. I'd probably have something like that with the Deserters as well.
Like where the mask has like a kind of like cloth wrapped around it.
Yeah, because we got the eye bandages recently in Project Nexus.
Projecto Nexoso.
Although I don't really think that's going to... It'd probably be the other eye that gets covered, so, you know, it follows that same aesthetic that Kringles does.
High Horizon. Then we got... I'll show off one more in here real quick. I'll show off the other crabroid variants before we settled on him being a crab. Originally, it was going to be like a more general, like, shaped unit, and then we settled on it being like a dissonance monster. But originally, it was a unit type with this kind of body shape, and he had these variants. Which we can still use to some degree, I think. I really like Screwed and Blade Orc. Not counting crab, of course.
You're screwed!
Literally.
Present.
I mean, look at him. Does this guy look like he's happy? None of them do.
He looks like he would do some silly gorilla game.
Also, take notice that his nails have been taken out and replaced with bolts.
Ouch.
Yeah, that probably fucking hurts.
So unnecessary, too.
Good, just... Well, I mean, a lot of things are necessary in Madness. Why do you think we're here?
I mean, I can understand a giant bolt in his neck because maybe that's keeping his head in place.
But
For all we know, he can't even turn his head anymore.
good, he deserves to suffer and scream.
Well, he is screwed.
You're screwed.
Utterly and completely.
Oh, yes. Real quick, I'm gonna switch the album to something more deadly, dangerous, and something that'll make people cry and scream. Actually, let me just find something kind of mild. No, that's not gonna work. That's too cool, that's too cool, that's too chill. That will give me copyright struck. I'll do this one. Just gotta reset the thingamajiggy so it actually goes full screen. View, compact player. No, mini player, goddammit. Goddamn sensitive piece of shit controls. And I gotta go to OBS. I gotta reset the properties on it so it actually catches the thing. There. No, I don't want to save the unchanged whatevers. Piece of crap. There we go. Alright. But yeah, there's some shit from Reclamation, and we would have already been working on it if we had the mod tools, but Swain's been like, oh, I need to figure out how to translate Wheezy Chinesey first. And Darksignal's the closest to... Like, him and X Default will be the closest to reverse engineering it if we needed to get to that point, I would say.
There have already been some tests to try and import custom scenes, but they have not been successful.
Like, at all?
Not at all. I
Like,
mean,
have
we
you-
got like this. We were able to go into the scene, but nothing was working.
You're able to import, like, a world space that you can have a character in.
We got the world space part, but we didn't get the character in.
Well, do you know how that data's loaded in?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Oh yeah, one weird thing I
And
noticed
even
about...
then, that would still be a very subpar thing to do when there is a lot that goes into each map with its choreography and its events.
Yeah, the scripting and events. One thing I did notice when I decompiled some assets from the game a couple years back was instead of the rooms themselves being like assembled in Unity with like different pieces, every room except for like movable interactable items for the most part is like a self-contained model. Like the entire room is one model that the characters run around in.
That's not really a bad thing, though.
That's not a bad thing. It's just I mean I haven't really seen any other games do something like that before.
We have a question for Darksignal.
All right.
Why is the Darksignal logo on the bottom right a ghost? Did he die? Did you die?
There have been at least 3 people who asked that question.
Okay,
now.
and now before you answer that question, I have to question this guy's ability to know his left from his right. He said bottom right. Do you know what right is? They're on the fucking left. God damn it.
That was my mistake.
Oh, you read it wrong. That means you don't know your left from your rights.
No, he did say lower right.
Okay. So whoever that guy was asked that question, you don't get to see Max 2 anymore. I'll just
Yeah,
I'll IP block you so you can't watch the movie when it comes out.
Gotta be
A specific
whitelisted.
blacklist for the movie.
I'll do that, and I'll expand the list for anybody that appears to not know their lefts from their rights.
We have
So,
another question.
No,
Oh,
Darksignal didn't get to
oh,
answer
yeah.
the question.
Go ahead.
We don't need to answer that question.
About the ghost?
Nope.
Well, all right then.
Because you already banned him.
Oh, what, we did?
No, not really. I'm just saying you're not going to let him watch the movie, so he might as well not get the question.
Okay, Cheese, continue.
Question from Ants. Hey, why is the Madness community so toxic? We lost a lot of really talented animators due to bullying on there.
Bullying? I've never heard of anyone leaving because they're getting bullied. I've heard people leaving because they ended up being like animal torturers, though. That was the case with Sethic. He was huge in the community, but then, you know what happened, and I'm not going to get into specifics, because, one, for the sake of everyone's sanity, and two, because, just on principle, I don't want to talk about him. Yeah, I haven't heard of people leaving because they're getting bullied, though. There is bullying that happens. Like, I joke about being the bully king, but I don't actually, like, bully people. Like, the most I bully would be, like, saying, like, someone needs to mildly improve their sprite work, and then they scream at me saying that their life's over. Which has happened on some occasions. Yeah, we have lost a lot of talented people in the last couple years, I would say. Part of it's just because people get sick of Madness, they want to move on to something else. Or just they want to expand their scope and they kind of slowly move away from it. But most people tend to stay in contact with people and the friends they made as long as they weren't like actual monsters. What were you saying, Cheese?
I don't know.
You interrupted me like you're gonna say something, and you made me feel so bad that I interrupted you.
I don't remember.
You fucker. And no, I'm not referring to Cobbler, I'm referring to a bunch of other people. I mean, we lost Sethic, we lost Fleetwire. Those two people alone were really pretty brutal, because Fleetwire was like an official musician for the actual Madness series. He did some of the most well-loved tracks in recent years, actually, because Cheshire wasn't really doing as much.
It's a shame he's gone.
Yeah, that really fucking sucks.
But hey, there is the compendium that Jsoull had put together containing.
And I need to clarify. I can't get any of his old music anymore unless I already downloaded it at some point, because I think it's like after 4 months or 5 months after deleting your account, it actually like wipes all the messages on that account. And Fleet's account's now like completely blank, so I can't go back and get anything else that was already there. I'm really glad I did. Thing is, I swear to God, like a week or two after I uploaded the compendium, that's when his account got like fully wiped. Thank God I got all this stuff before then, or else a shit ton of music would just be literally gone forever. Just, you would not be able to hear it, period. Because a lot of it was just stuff he never published. It was only things he gave me and a couple of his other friends.
Little blurbs.
Yeah, like not just a little burst, like entire songs, like completed songs that he just never released formally. Like I showed him like a bunch, like there's a whole like hour or two in the compendium that's just unreleased music that were completely fully finished songs. And he was actually doing the soundtrack to a game. It's called like Denrai Evolved or something. He did some music for them. And you can actually, like, I think they're still working on the game. I think they released like a beta, and his music's in that version and on the like main menu screen and shit. So he had a lot of stuff, but obviously he isn't working for Denrai anymore because he disappeared off the internet. So his music would never be released formally from them. So I had to save that. Saved a bunch of the prototype versions, like the Artifact soundtracks, and I think one of them in there was going to be originally used for Max 2 somewhere, but I forget. It was one of the untitled tracks. There's a bunch of other shit. Jesus, why are there so many mentions of my name in here? Jeez, sort through them quickly before it's too late.
Jsoull, what level are you?
What level of animation am I? You mean like, you're asking like how good I think I am at animating?
It's just Jsoull, what level are you? That's the entire question.
What level of animation are you? Oh,
What
no,
level?
I thought, no, this is the same guy asking the same question twice.
Oh.
Like, look up, he specifies what level of animation.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good at, like, sprite animation. I'm good at doing, like, physics especially. Like, I got a good grasp on gravity for, like, casings and bodies and stuff. I mostly have trouble with... The main Perl is mostly when it comes to like FBF stuff I'm not too good at. I'm pretty good at 3D though, and implementing 3D elements into Max too. CRISPR's helped a lot with that, especially. But
CRISPR is our 3D modeling guy.
yes, he's a really cool dude. He lives in the Middle East. He lives in a little desert hut with like a little antenna on it.
No,
He's crafted all of his computer parts out of turning the sand into silicon boards and just making a computer out of that.
He built it in a cave with nothing but scrap metal.
Exactly. And he's actually a really cool guy. Very nice, very kind, very talented. And
He's
working
got
on
a literal
his-
arc react.
He's working on his own little personal projects as well that I'm very much looking forward to. He's also a huge fan of Command and Conquer.
Oh yeah. You should see all the Nod Soldier gifts he puts out there.
He really loves Nod. Also seeing people ask about the Friday Night Funkin' community being toxic. That's mostly just because of the sheer volume of people that's just prone to happening. Like, that's the same thing that happened to, like, the Undertale community and Homestuck community. They get so big to the point where so many people are inside of it that you hit a
It just
threshold.
reaches the critical mass.
You reach a critical mass where the people are just going to become, like, massively shitty. And
That's why
in Homestuck and Undertale's case, it was mostly because degenerates started getting into there and really pretentious people that are jack shit insane. In FNF's case, it's because like literally a billion trillion 11-year-olds that shouldn't have access to the internet got on computers and started just ruining things for everyone else. I'll definitely say that. And there has been bleed over from FNF into Madness. Now, to clarify, I don't have any problem with Friday Night Funkin' on its own. I think it's an okay game. Like, I don't like rhythm games, but that doesn't mean like I hate it. It's just not my thing. But I do think some of the fervor around it is kind of ridiculous for what it is. I feel like some people take that shit way too fucking seriously. And the bleed over has been a mix of positive and negative for the Madness community. We get some cool people, like genuinely talented people coming in, which is great. But then we also get a shit ton of those like 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds, which shouldn't be on a computer to begin with, coming in and spamming really, really nasty shit or just a bunch of dumb crap that dumbs everything down for everyone else. Just spam, yelling about Friday Night Funkin', confusing Madness for being a meme. It's just, well, it is kind of a meme to be honest. They just kind of dilute the coolness, and it makes us all wonder why we're even here in the first place. Because prior to Friday Night Funkin', Madness was actually, I think it's mostly agreed that it was kind of like in a pretty small state. It was mostly just really specialized people that cared a lot hanging out, which I think was probably for the best. Because then the only people who were hanging around making content were the people that really genuinely wanted to do it, and they weren't just there for like clout, like a lot of the FNF people are. Like a shit ton of the people that came in because of FNF were just here because of the association Madness has with Friday Night Funkin', not because they themselves like Madness combat. That's the main reason why, like, to going back to the question, like the toxicity in Madness and FNF, a lot of it comes from that rivalry, where a shit ton of the people came in just because of the association, not because they actually like Madness at all. And so they come in and they start just kind of diluting what Madness is supposed to be and making it a lot more kiddie, and that's where a lot of conflict takes place. Would you agree, Cheese?
we're gonna ship Sanford and Delos.
Yeah, the fucking shipping shit. I blame that Friday Night fuckers for making Guys Night Out get first place on Madness Day. That shit fucking pissed me off because all the Twitter mobs that came with them were like, oh, Madness Demos, hell yeah. And then they don't care about actual Madness combat movies.
They're just wrapped up in their own little world.
Okay, Cheese, I want you to look through the rest of the questions I missed during that entire tirade. I gotta go grab
We got
some...
one question.
We got
one
two
asking.
questions actually. They're in. I put them in the
Well,
chat.
hold on, and then I'll come back and answer them because I gotta go get some water.
Oh.
Have fun, water boy.
You're gonna be the water boy when I'm done fucking pumping you full of lead, bitch.
That's not how it works.
Well, water would be leaving the body.
Yeah. Along with everything else.
It's not so much the 12-year-olds because underage fans have been present in Madness since the beginning. The problem is that these new fans are smartphone zoomers. Well, I don't really think that's so much the problem either. I think it's just because most of the people who are coming in here just don't really have the right idea on what madness is. And so they just come in here with the generalities that they got from Friday Night Funkin' and thought it was just more fun and clown.
It's dark and grim.
Not to them. Although these might also be the same people who are into Five Nights at Freddy's, whose storyline is so gruesome. I can't imagine how kids got into that.
I love murder.
It's like, I don't know how a concept like Springtrap could be so kid-friendly.
You can literally see the dead man inside that thing.
Right? It's so gruesome. I don't know how there's still a mummified corpse in there. And there was even a couple of backstage shots of actually getting to see the flesh intermingled with the wires inside.
I mean, shouldn't his flesh have been like eaten away by now?
Questions I missed.
Shut up.
Oldest to newest. What's up?
We have one other question to add onto the list, but we'll start off with balonies. Jsoull, what is your personal take on small-time or new members of the Madness community who tend not to be last very long before leaving? I think that it's who the toxicity question really referenced.
Oh, you mean the people just coming in for clout, realizing they didn't like madness and then leaving? Well, obviously, I don't approve of just like entering the community just for the sake of popularity and then realizing you don't like it. Because like going into it knowing you don't like it, eventually getting bored and then just leaving without really doing anything. Obviously, I think it's just a waste of time and just bloating things. Making the community get full of a bunch of fucking people that don't actually give a shit about anything.
Next question we have from Necromancer. What has been your worst anger when working at Max 2?
The crashes.
I can think of a few.
The crashes, absolutely the crashes. I've lost a shit ton of work from crashes. I make hard backups and soft backups of everything. By soft backups mean shit I keep on the cloud and on my computer. Hard backups mean like shit I back up on like actual physical storage drive that I then put in like a fucking Faraday cage. But definitely the crashes and the unpredictability and Flash's performance are the worst. Performance is the biggest problem, especially when it comes to like just playback, like and seeing how things move. Because like this looks like a lot, and then you realize this is just a couple dozen sprites on a flat colored background. Like on a technical scale, this is absolutely nothing. On this computer, I can run AAA games, max settings, and get perfectly smooth frame rates. But this, what you're seeing right here, makes my computer fucking crawl like a worm. And
what's the frame rate at now?
Turns it into a jet engine.
I do the playback now.
What's the
Playback
memory
here.
at?
Playback here is about 7 to 8 frames per second.
And the memory usage right now?
I'll check. Oh yeah, the memory leaks are a big problem. Let me grab
Well, that's
that.
what's causing the blackout crashes.
Yes. So let's actually drop down the little psychic folder here. Last we're at is like 58. Now we're at 6,500,000. So it is increasing. How delightful.
Great.
Yeah, memory
great.
leaks. The memory leaks tend to start at random, I would say. Like I've done some experiments. If I just leave the program open long enough, or just open a certain file, it'll just start leaking and it won't stop literally until you force restart the program. Now, the really aggressive crashes are the ones where it blacks out and then it doesn't let me save. Now, that can happen two different ways. When I try to hit Control S, it'll bring up a blank notification box that'll infinitely replenish itself no matter how many times you exit out or hit Enter. Like you'll hold down Enter to have as many inputs per second as the computer will register. It doesn't matter. It will not let you leave that box. And the problem is that box stops you from hitting any other input, including saving. So if that box pops up while it's crashing, you just lose everything. It's a hard crash. It corrupts everything. You lose it. It denies you from being able to save the last second. And other times, the blackout crash happens almost instantaneously and you don't even have enough time to do Control S. And other times, it's just straight crash to desktop. which happens to me sometimes, but thankfully I mostly get the slow blackout crashes, which means I have a couple seconds to save before I lose all my work forever. I would say any crashes are unacceptable for a program that's supposed to be sold professionally to studios. I think that goes for most things. Like, you wouldn't sell a car where the engine just shuts off every couple of hours, or where the gas tank leaks whenever you start the engine. I think it's acceptable that you wouldn't ever sell that to people. I think that goes for software too. Just on principle, you shouldn't sell something so jack shit broken.
Or, what the game industry has been doing, where they're only selling you the license to play the game, where they could shut it off at any moment.
Yeah, that fucking crap. Hate it. Go through the rest of the questions, Cheese. Hurry.
Stalker Kostya, he asks, "Hey, Jsoull, may I ask, are you started at mobile animes or in PC? Oh, did you start on either one?"
No, I didn't start as a mobile animator. I started on PC. I started animating in 2016, or at least 2016. I mean, I got Flash in like 2015, but I didn't start formally animating until 2016.
If he started on mobile, that'd be a hell of a redemption story.
Well, it's already a redemption story because I'm the one that started the fucking CSO thing. I'm the one that started the sound overhaul thing back in the day. I'm the reason that all exists.
And he regrets.
I regret it. I regret it all. I thought I was just doing something fun, and I made them when I was like 12 or 13. I just thought they're like stupid little things I was doing for fun. And then they get like millions of views. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I just
sometimes they outrank the source material.
Yeah. Like Incident 1008, that got more views than the original. I have no fucking idea how that could happen. Like, I got 1 million views back when like the original upload had only like 700,000. I plainly just don't get how that's even possible. Keep in mind, that happened when I was like 13, 14. I think in 2017, I unlisted and deleted almost all the CSO videos. I kept the Realm 3 one up for a while because that had direct approval from Kelzad, and a lot of other people also agreed that the sounds overall were objectively superior, but I think I eventually unlisted that too. I acknowledge my past, and I want to I think I've done enough to redeem myself by making Parroting Madness 2 a reality. Because that's something people, including myself, have wanted to see since I was a little kid. I remember when I was 13 years old, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see the sequel to Parroting Madness. And then eventually I did it all myself. Would you say that's a redemption arc?
But I like CSS.
Be careful.
And it inspired some people to get into sound design. Like Rick C. Peasant over here.
Dun dun dun. Well, yeah, I appreciate the good that the videos did, I guess. I just felt bad for the most part because I was taking attention away from the original videos from Crinkles. And when I realized that, I felt really, really, really bad about it. And that's why I unlisted and deleted most of them.
But that's still getting him publicity, isn't it?
I was taking views away from I was kind of taking money away from him because instead of them watching his video and getting advertising revenue, they're just watching mine. And also, I'm just kind of stealing his thunder by having his same video just with new sound effects getting more views than the original.
The problem about Adobe is that they can afford to not care about selling such a crappy, broken public software because people just aren't pressuring them enough. Well, that's the problem that comes with partial monopolies.
Exactly. I mean, I think...
Like Microsoft.
Yeah, fuck Microsoft. Bomb their headquarters. Okay, actually, no, I'm not serious. Don't call the police. But they're not a good company. They're evil. And they want to stick a brain chip in your eyeball that'll make you a slave, that'll you'll just buy things for the rest of your life. And you'll give them all their money, and then they'll do things to you. Don't trust Microsoft. And, for Adobe products, I actually think Photoshop's actually a really good program, and so is Premiere. But a lot of the other shit's just completely jack shit broken.
Well, now is a good time to transition into Tin Man's question on which is better, Adobe CS6 or Adobe Animate. And I'm pretty sure we answered this question.
CS6, absolutely CS6. Has slightly less features, but it is so much more reliable. Runs so much better. Just find a dark theme for it and you'll be fine. You'll pretend you're in Animate and then just say you're better than everyone else. Animate thinks it's fancy because, ooh, look, we give you pattern brushes. But like I demonstrated earlier in the stream, every new feature they add is just completely broken and only usable in really specific circumstances. Like,
yes, the one time I'm going to use this pattern brush. Goodbye forever.
Yeah, the one time you can actually find a use for a pattern brush, and then, oh, you can't actually warp it or change it or use the texture at all as a vector. So it almost completely defeats the purpose of that utility. Like, oh, it's cool, I can draw like a floral pattern, but I can't really do anything with that because I can't warp it or treat it as a shape. Sometimes you can. Like, sometimes if you break it apart, it will let you warp it, but most of the time it just locks itself into this weird, like, kind of negative space where it just doesn't allow you to do anything.
I thought that I was going to like that new enveloping tool where you could make things feel more flexible, like waviness and such.
Yeah.
I never saw where that one.
It's because it doesn't really work well. You can't group, like, you can't do that with actual symbols. Like, I can't do that with this, even though that'd be really useful.
I figured it would be the same case as the bone tool that we have here in CS6.
You also cannot distort on a 3D plane sprites as well. It doesn't give you that option either, which is like, why not? There's no reason why they shouldn't have that as an option. I'll show you the tool right here. So let me just draw a quick circle. And even in here it's running like shit. So I can go to modify.
It's tool time with Jsoull.
Envelope. And now envelope allows you to have a lot more warp control over a shape that you couldn't really have before. That's cool and all, but you can only do this with plain shapes. Like, you can't do this with like an actual layered object. So its use is extremely limited. Also, the controls, while more precise than most, aren't perfect. And the biggest problem is mostly with if you're trying to make several incremental changes, you just don't have the ability, because as soon as you click off and deselect it, it also stops using the tool outright.
Yeah, and it forgets every envelopment that you had before then.
Yeah, okay, so let's say I go into envelope here, right? And I push in this part. Now, let's say I wanted to click on that, but I literally missed by a pixel, because these are literally little tiny pixel-sized fucking dots you gotta click on. Oh, I missed out by a pixel. Oh, that's okay. I'll just reselect it. First of all, it doesn't go back into the envelope tool like it should, so it forces you to waste time going up here, clicking modify, going down, clicking transform, going across, clicking on envelope, and then it doesn't save the actual change you did, and I can't revert it to how it was without it looking all fucky.
I think that's the biggest crime.
The fact that it doesn't save the position on the envelope on the object.
Yeah, and how you could so easily lose your program.
Yeah, that happened to me multiple times. I mostly use the envelope tool for battle damage, but I've been doing a lot of it just completely by hand because of how wonky it is. Especially since a lot of my weapons and characters have multiple layers, and doing this across layers just doesn't really work.
I found it better to just use the distort tool.
If only I could
better
distort
for more rigid objects for things like posters and rooms.
If only I could distort sprites.
On the distort tool, just so you know, if you have the free transform tool and you hold that control while clicking on a corner, you can use the distort option.
Make some great 3D effects. And now's a good time to mention to anyone who's watched Subjugation, the one room where it turns around to show the Zerker getting shot, that wasn't actual 3D. That was just a bunch of clever distortion and shape tweening. So it was fake 3D.
Fake. Darksignal's a fake.
Fake. Fake.
What are you, like that old internet guy that would scream fake at people?
I don't know.
You know who lives in this house? A big fat phony.
What the hell's that from?
You don't remember? This guy's a great big phony.
I genuinely don't remember. Just mention what it's from.
It was from Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, fuck. Well, I fucked up there then. Need to have more of a bounce when he moves his head back. Looks like it looks smoother.
Is Envelop a tool like strictly in whatever program you guys are using?
In Animate? Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's
then why
also
can
in
I see
CSS.
Yeah,
Why
but
can I see Envelop in Flash 8?
good. And they haven't fixed or added any new features to it in like the 30 years since they released Flash 8.
Because it's perfect as is, obviously.
No, there's so much more you can add and fix and make it more friendly towards your users, but they just don't do it. I'll say Flash overall has been always a bit user hostile, but the latest versions of Animate are just like outright hostile. They just hate you. Like people have asked me about Adobe before. I would say the closest analogy to using Animate is like trying to herd a pack of rabid coyotes. They fight and bite and bark at you every step of the way to do every simplest thing. It feels like that constantly. Jesus. Okay. The other questions,
Sure.
Cheese?
Yes, we have like 3.
Go ahead.
Let's start with Stalker Kiostas, since he's asked it a second time. Jsoull, what do you think about mobile animators? And then in parentheses, not like Rexdoll.
I don't know who Rexdoll is.
Me neither.
Well, is he the guy that did that really good mobile animation of if Deimos survived and Hank turned into a full mag?
Let's find out.
I remember that was really good. And I was actually shocked when I heard that was mobily animated, because that was actually done with good quality and time.
Yeah, that's Rexdoll.
Yeah, those are really good. Like, he makes good shit. And that's because he actually puts effort into it. The issue isn't the fact that you're doing it on a mobile, it's the fact that a lot of mobile animators are usually like really young kids that just want to make a madness thing and they don't know how to draw anything themselves or really animate at all. And it ends up just making a bunch of really crappy stuff. The issue is because the barrier for entry for mobile animation is so low that you get a lot of crap. And most people that have a lot of talent just tend to do formal programs on their computers. So that's where the stigma usually comes from. But they can be good, as in the case of Rex.
Next question.
Go ahead.
Their turn off, not return is asking, to be honest, is Ammo a heroic organization or a villain organization?
I'm shocked they have to answer that.
They literally give ice cream to kids.
Like,
They do food drives. They're great.
like just based on how they look, you think these are the good guys?
They have big
You
smiley
think based on what
faces.
they've done?
Like you saw a scene of them earlier where they shot unarmed people for fun. Like, these aren't good people. They're not nice. That's kind of the
Those
whole
are the
point.
bad guys. They
They're-
shot the bad guys.
Okay, this is what I'm fucking talking about. Like earlier when I said I had to make it like really, 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 absolutely, without a doubt, clear. Because we get people like this asking, "Oh, are Ammo the good guys?" It's like, no, they're not. I mean, Jesus.
Who do you think plastered the scientist on the ceiling here?
Yeah, this unarmed scientist who's just hiding in terror, trying to call security. Instead of just taking his phone away and arresting him, he fucking treats him like a ping pong, goes smack, smack.
Boing.
Throw it against the ceiling like a wet paper towel.
Exactly. I'll show what happened to this poor bastard. So this guy's like, tee hee hee, I'm gonna inject AIDS into this N51 unit. And then guess what
You
happens?
don't want to do that.
Curelicious. He's like, I'm gonna inject you with AIDS. Ouch. Hey, wait a minute, man. Listen, I can give you my ID card. You can get a half off coupon at. Gets his neck twisted, thanks to Casper.
I killed 12 dumbass scientists and not one of them fought back.
This
sucks.
sucks.
Yeah, that's what happens when you shoot people on a rescue mission.
But yeah, this scientist snapped.
But don't
Crackle
worry,
Pie.
I'm a scientist and I'm armed like a secessionist.
Hey, that
rhymes.
And there he goes. He's dead forever, and his family will never.
Ever find his body.
I like how the assassin swings at him, but he missed.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't totally oblivious. He knew he was behind him. He's like, take this, and just barely misses.
We got another question. Is Omene Ketu still handling the frame-by-frame scene?
Unfortunately, no. I was working with her for some time, and unfortunately, it got to the point where she was not able to complete scenes in the time they needed to be completed, and she just lost motivation to work. Like, at one point, like that, when I showed off the meat sector, I made mention of the one part that was unfinished you saw. Like, I was waiting for that to be done for about, like, 5 months. 5 to 6 months for about 5 seconds of animation. For the sake of the movie, I can't compromise waiting that much time to get something done. While Amena is a very talented woman, and I love talking to her, and working with her is nice, for the sake of the movie, she was not able to get things done as they needed to be, so she's not working with us anymore. Does that answer your question?
Shall we go to the next question?
Go ahead.
We're going back a little further now.
From Baloney, was there any phase of Abaddon as an OC that you look back and think, man, that sucked?
Oh yeah, back when he was just like a regular soldat with a red eye.
My answer to that was all of them.
You even knew Abaddon?
Well, all of them that isn't the current version. Because obviously there was something that needed to be done where you felt that you needed to do something.
Needed to be changed.
Well, yeah, because visually he was just a recolored soldat. I still wanted to make him very obviously like based on a soldat with like his own personality, and I think I accomplished that. Mostly by making him really expressive.
So let's do the other question that Baloney has, which was, alright, theoretical scenario, Crinkles agrees to a non-canon collab with mixing another IP with Madness. Which would you want it to be?
I don't even know what would work best with that. Like, I guess because a crossover can go a couple different ways. They could do it. They could do it like Jimmy Neutron, Timmy, like a Fairly Odd Parents style, where it's like a universe swap, or they could do like Invasion style, where like one universe is trying to take over another, or they can try to hybridize it. But I'm not really sure what would work best in Madness combat, just because Madness itself is made to be kind of like solely style, like almost solely style over substance, like no spoken dialogue and that sort of thing. When most other universes and worlds have conventionally told stories. I would say I don't really got a good answer for that.
Well, I have an answer for this next question from the Villain Club. Out of all 3 main factions, AHW, N51, and Nexus Corps, which one is the strongest? In the context of Project Nexus, I would say it goes in that order. It's like, AHW may be proliferate and they're universal, but they still only have one main goal, and they only oppose what stands in the way of that goal. And because they don't really have a lot of funding for their troops, which are pretty much created to be expendable, then they'd probably be the least powerful amongst that group. N51, while they may have the resources and firepower to go toe-to-toe with someone the likes of the Nexus Corps, they still have to be very conservative about how they use that power, because it is very limited. So I would say that the Nexus Corps would be the most powerful, because not only do they have the numbers, but they also have the resources and technology to make a name for themselves.
That's why they've been reigning supreme for so long.
And that's why
That's why-
2, they've been ruling for 100 years.
That's why they are the last arena in arena mode. They're the last people to face. With
That's why
N51
these-
just behind them in hard cell.
Jollybag wants you, Jsoull, to zoom in on the Dr. Red poster.
And we have a question from Panzer Tank asking, why is the Nexus Corps sellouts?
Well, you need to specify what you mean by that. Oh yeah, hardcore spoiler, Duding Darn's character does show up as Dr. Red. He'll be showing up in the finale of the medical sector. Also, Jinx is the wonderful, wonderful woman who's been working on these posters for us. She is a very talented artist, and she's done these in such a delicious and beautiful fashion. Bringing such life to each sector. She's been a huge help for the movie. I also like this one a lot. I think it's cute.
I love the little face diaper he wears.
Father Phobos. They make it all look pretty, but the process really isn't pretty.
We're all caught up. This is our last question for now. From Baloney, would you say Madness Project Nexus has at least some form of cyberpunk genre-inspired themes, tech and stuff? Roughly what percent of it would you consider it fits that bill?
Well, going off of, like... I do want to quickly mention, like, original Madness Combat. I think that more fit kind of... Like, I'm not really sure what you call it. Maybe, like, diesel punk or grease punk or something. It was, like, a lot of pipes and, like, old machinery with a lot of concrete and, like, brutalist architecture. But,
Diesel punk's more like World War One stuff.
well, I kind of... Well,
Steampunk.
Well, there's a little bit of kind of diesel punk in terms of, like, the machinery, like, exposed machinery everywhere and how dirty everything is. I think there's, like, some, like, tastes of that, but Project Nexus 2 is more, like, kind of, has more general cyberpunk sci-fi elements. I'd say it's less, like, no, Darksignal, don't shoot me. I'll say it's slightly less unique in that way, but because it has more general cyberpunk and sci-fi elements with, like, glowy shit everywhere. I'm not really sure what percentage I would consider that, though. I think Dark would be better answering this question because Project Nexus 2 is like his lifeblood.
Jsoull, are you in Dom?
Huh?
Are you in Dom, Discord of Madness?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Alright, because you're getting pinged by Stalker Kyasa.
On what channel?
Bot commands.
Why would I be looking there?
I don't know. They've been messaging that same message in the chat a couple of times. Check Dom, Discord of Madness. On bot commands, you're gonna get pinged.
There, I just made him go away.
Oh.
The Villain Club continues to inquiry. Didn't Project Nexus Tower mission, Nexus Core got wrecked so hard they called in the AHW? While that is true, you have to consider the time at which they were faced. Because Arena Mode was when they were at their peak. It was during a time when their output was so strong that they couldn't be opposed. Meanwhile, in Story Mode, it's 30 years after the fall, and they're practically a remnant force at that point. So they kind of needed somebody else to pull them out of the fire.
They're barely hanging on.
They're operating off of the orders of a dead director.
Dead forever. Who doesn't like dead people? I love dead people. Why do you think I kill so many people in real life?
Like those Koreans?
Now, if you mention that a Korean police officer might investigate me and I'll be in like a movie, like a sequel to I Saw the Devil.
It'd be a
I've
sequel
never
to the
seen it.
interview.
Oh god. Well, not North Koreans, these were South Koreans I was fighting. Well, specifically, I think they were South Korean tourists. I don't really remember. Now, I've killed so many people, it just kind of becomes a blur. You know how it is.
We have a question for Darksignal. The Villain Club asks, canon question, is Tricky as strong as the Auditor/Employers?
Is that in relevance to Project Nexus or Max?
I believe just the Project Nexus and whatnot.
Yeah, you don't associate with that clown here. Hard to say because they kind of go in different directions. The clown's in the other place and he's just kind of immune to it at this point. Meanwhile, the employers are on the side of the nowhere, and they are practically the stewards of the grand machine.
Stewards.
They're based around order, while the clown is based around chaos.
If he mentions
So
soda
just watch.
cannons-
So just watch Madness Abrogation, and you can answer that question for yourself.
If he mentions the soda can analogy, I'm gonna fucking break his neck.
It's more like 2 soda cans.
I hate it. It's so unfunny. I get what they're trying to do, but Tricky would say something more like along the lines of screaming his lungs out and smashing his head against a brick, rather than talking calmly with 2 characters.
He's not talking calmly, though. You have to remember that this is before the clown was engaged in MC5.
Okay. Well, to clarify, I think Tricky would say something more along the lines of like 2 heads bursting with pus versus soda cans.
Well, the soda cans thing was the thing that was tossed around amongst the science team, and he was on the science team.
Science team? Were they responsible? Sabotage, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah,
What I know is they're
maybe.
responsible for killing my buddies.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he'll pay.
You'll pay. You will definitely pay.
That's what you get for trying to guilt trip me. Yeah, the big bad Freeman.
But of course, you guys didn't start shit.
I don't know why I'm a patsy, but I don't have to take it. Fuck the system.
I'm really sorry to the people that don't know what we're talking about.
It is from Freeman's Mind, a series created by Ross Scott, also known as Accursed Farm.
He's the
Did that in the
coolest
wrong
guy.
order.
Me and Darksignal want to meet him one day and dress up as characters from his review show just to terrify him and make sure he can't get to sleep at night.
He does not speak for me.
Does this mean I get to... Does this mean Jsoull's gonna dress up as a Baldy?
Yeah, I'd be a Baldy, and then Darksignal would be the middleman from Yet 3.
Why that guy?
You don't have to be naked under the coat. But you need to wear the same, like you can't wear socks, at least.
You gotta grow a mustache, man.
You're just gonna fake mustache, it'll be fine. Well, yeah, me being the Baldy would be fine, but you'd work best as the middleman because you look like you.
Why do I work best as the middleman?
Because
Why should I be compared with that guy?
Because I've seen you wear like the dark sunglasses and large hat before, so that just comes to my mind. Like you could pull off that look. I could see you pulling off like a really smug smile with that ridiculous outfit as we stare at Ross's eyes and you see the life leave his body.
You see him get on his knees and go, "No, no," as he clenches his fist and shake them into the air.
I knew this would happen.
Exactly. Well, it would be quite a dramatic situation, I believe. Dramatic, one would say.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
New Temp soldiers are showing up?
You're saying that
Okay.
as if like you're questioning something you just saw.
You mentioned it a long time ago in the live stream.
Yeah, I might have him show up somewhere. I'm not sure where though. I mean, you already know like the unit design for like the officers are being used for like Nexus officers, but those
Yeah.
those might as well functionally be just new tab. Like those might as well just be
Alright.
just regular new tab high brass that are intermixed with Nexus soldiers at that point.
I mean, that is their purpose, being officers of sorts.
Well, then I guess they're there. They're in the movie. How do you feel?
I want to see them. I want to see the Max 2 rendition.
Didn't you already see it? I made a news post showing them off already.
I didn't see the soldiers.
Oh, the soldiers, no. I've only seen like we've only like done the officers so far.
Yeah. We have 3 questions. We'll start with alphas. Hey, Jsoull, how was day today? How was your day?
I'm doing all right. Nothing really that bad has happened. I'm mostly just really sore after walking like 20 miles in Zion National Park.
Next, we got a question from the Villain Club. Are all golems like Shakespearean geniuses like the elites in Halo? Well, you have to remember that all the golems in the Science Tower are really just a bunch of LARPers. It's all an act, the way they talk.
I always thought they'd just be kind of like big dumb brutes. Because they're Frankenstein.
They're not really dumb, they're just maybe the limited model ones are.
Well, I mean, they're just kind of like Frankenstein monsters in my mind. That's why
They're
just
trained to
kinda-
be.
Well, they are.
Well, in Max 2,
They're
they're
just-
they're basically like as smart as Frankenstein's too. They're just given orders and they follow them.
And they have been trained explicitly to exercise caution with their power.
Power.
So, another question. First of all, Alpha, I love you, Jsoull.
I hate you, Alpha, and I love you.
It's not a question.
Second of all, from Stalker Kyasa, hey Jsoull, how's life with F6 button?
I'm probably gonna start
He's
wearing.
talking about.
I'm probably gonna start wearing the paint off the key eventually.
You haven't
But
done
it
that
has not
already?
come yet.
A question from Nex. Do you plan on showing us any other small glimpses of Max 2? Which
I already
is kind
showed
of
you
what
like
you're
10
already
minutes
seeing.
of footage in the other live streams. That's not good enough for you people. You're like leeches. Get off of me. I mean,
Where's that
you're
detective?
seeing a sneak peek of it right now. This is the movie right here. Even though it's like
Look at this
unfinished,
singular picture of this guy.
even though it's like unfinished, like here it is. I'm working on it. This is like literally what's in the movie.
It looks more like you're just staring at a picture rather than animating.
I mean, I've been animating this guy the whole time. I think you're not paying attention with your eyeballs, Cheese.
I think you need to get eyeballs. Since
I
you
think I'm gonna
crushed yours.
grab your fucking throat and squeeze till it snaps like a fucking twig.
Considering Jsoull, you haven't played PN2, have you?
What?
Have you played PN2? Project Nexus
Project
2?
Nexus.
Oh
2.
yeah, I played some of it, but I didn't beat the campaign.
And you probably haven't played Arena Mode either.
I played a lot of it back when I got alpha access, and then I hadn't played a lot of it since. I did multiplayer.
Okay, so
I did multiplayer with Zapchon once. We did like a competition to see who could get to the city the fastest, and I think I won? I don't remember. That's back when the game was still in beta, though.
okay, so you probably haven't played the new Arena Mode then.
No, I haven't.
Alright, then we have a question from the Villain Club. Out of all the arena contract levels, which one do you guys think is the hardest? And then his is the vampire one.
Well, there's only about 4 to 5 different contracts you can play, and that's if you're counting the heist contracts.
Hard.
So your options are kind of limited there, pal.
Pow. Yeah, insult him to his fucking face. Make him scream.
I guess I'd say the final one. Because the bots are relentless.
Yeah, but they break easy.
Hard sell.
No, that's an arena, not a contract.
Oh, fuck!
That's an arena mission as opposed to a contract.
God damn it, I'm so sad. So sad.
Stygian questions. Will there be a documented collection similar to a dev book of all the assets used and unused?
Yes.
Posters and backgrounds are unique, and it'd be a shame if they could only be viewed from the movie.
Yes, we are planning like a design document after Max 2 releases that'll go over like all the it'll be like a somewhat go from like old to new. We're going to show off like all the original sprites and then their upgraded versions, and then there'll be sections dedicated to each person who contributed to the movie where they'll show off their stuff and talk about their contributions and their design processes and shit. And yeah, all the posters will be shown in like nice crystal clear vectors. It's gonna be like a free like PDF book we're gonna put out there for people. They can just download it off of like Mediafire or Newgrounds or whatever. And they can take a look at it if they want. I might also do like a... Oh yeah, I do have to... There is gonna be one other Madness related video after Max 2 that I have to do out of commitment. Do you remember what that is?
Max 2, 3?
No. It had to do with Adobe programs.
Oh yeah,
Adobe programs are a fraud?
No, I made a promise to someone that when I finish Max 2, I'll record myself burning all my Adobe programs to a CD and then lighting it on fire and pissing on it.
Oh.
wouldn't stop to piss on it if it were on fire.
Actually, yeah, should I even bother to piss on it or should I just set it on fire?
I think it'd make a better statement if you did.
If I pissed on it or didn't?
Just didn't. Just watch it burn.
I'll use my... I actually have a flamethrower. I can use it for that.
Where did you get a flamethrower?
Oh, I can actually show you the video of me using it if I still got it somewhere. Let me look around.
I think I actually remember that then. So
me
it
find
wasn't
it.
like... Yeah, I remember.
Let me find it. I gotta find it. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Is this it? WebM? No, that's the video of some
It ended
Russian
with
guy.
you saying, holy shit.
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting it to be that effective. But yeah, I have a flamethrower. And I will use that on the really stupid piece of shit programs that I hate.
Fuck you, Adobe.
Fuck you, Microsoft. No, honestly, fuck Microsoft.
We have a question from Bloney. After Max 2 is finished, assuming it is successful enough to warrant it, would you consider making the making of video?
I mean, we're already making like a making of document. That would already do the job well enough.
Yeah, isn't the art book technically that?
Yeah, it would. The art book's gonna be that. Art book would be better because then you can also like get all the art and like rip it from the PDF and like source
Steal
quality.
the sprites.
Well, yeah, I don't fucking give a shit after the movie's out. Like everyone knows where it's from.
I think the album has ended.
Oh, I'll pick another one. We'll go for like another half hour and then I'm gonna go like get lunch.
It's ended for a while.
Oh, well maybe because people just love our voices so much.
Maybe because there's been so many questions that need to be answered. Speaking of which, we have yet
Viewership
another
is
one.
dropped.
Yeah, no shit. We've been streaming for like 10 hours.
Been more like 3.
Well, the streams usually go on for about 3 hours each, so it's not really surprising. We'll clear up a few more questions and it's ending. Let's make it 20 minutes. I'll put on one last album.
Alright, let's answer this next one. The Villain Club. Madness Combat question. I've argued with some of the newer MC fans on the name of the mag agent with large nails in his head. Which one do you believe is the rightful one? Mr. Nails or Torture Mag?
Well, Mr. Nails was like
How
a
about
name.
Torture?
Mr. Nails was just something came up that like Gabe came up with for his own little character. His actual name's just Mag Agent Torture.
It even says on the auditor's screen.
Yeah, like it's right there. Like there's no room to negotiate here. This is like the Chinese trying to talk about Nanking like it happened yesterday. It's like, yeah, it didn't. It happened like 20 seconds ago. I'll put on...
There's also another question from the Villain Club, which is, are you getting lunch?
What are you getting for lunch?
I'll
my
probably
bad.
hit up some pumpernickel bread. I'll toast it. And I'll have some chicken cutlets aside that. Get some nice protein and some carbs in my system. Gluten is a necessary part of my diet as a madness animator. Let's try... This probably won't get us copyright struck. Let's do it. Darksignal will like this.
The stream ends.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not that mean.
No, you won't be doing it. Getting copyright strike would.
Oh yeah. Gotta watch out for that shit. Or else my life ends forever and I never have any hope of return. There we go. Okay, this scene needs to go on for like another couple seconds to transfer out. Where are you, VCam, you fucking piece of shit? There we go.
Villain Club wants you to do an ASMR of you eating.
No? Fucking
There's your
pervert?
answer.
You got fucking brain problems if you ask that unironically. Okay, one sec. I'm gonna add like a pause here. And then one sec. Yeah, that there. Just gonna add a little bit of
Look at him go.
a little bit of fun. Darksignal really likes this soundtrack, from what I recall.
Axiom Verge? Yes.
Thomas Happ is a very, very talented game maker and musician.
Stalker Kyasta asks, Jsoull, why do I feel like these guys are jumping when walking?
I don't know, I just animate people really bouncily, I guess. This is kind of my thing.
It's like
The
they're on
style.
it's like they're floating carpets.
Exactly. Think of it like that. Fucking auto recovery interrupting my keyframes.
It's almost like they're wading through water when there isn't any.
Good. Maybe that's how people
Okay.
would walk if they didn't have legs.
We gotta hop through the water.
There would be no...
It's like they're
Kill
trudging
everybody.
through mud.
Good. Suffer and scream.
Point.
And then slight pause, and then we're going to ease out the movement here with a nice splat.
Why is the scientist bouncing against the ceiling, though? I'd imagine he'd just be embedded into it like an MCA.
I think it's more like Casper's making room so he can have more space to throw him down full force, because when he throws him down there, it's going to be like a big blood splatter.
Oh, so he throws him down and not up.
He throws him up and he hits the ceiling, then he throws him back down to splatter him.
Okay, then.
He throws him up and then finishes him by
I thought
tossing
it
him
was
down.
just gonna hit the ceiling and there'd be a shower of blood.
Nah, I didn't.
No.
Like I did that originally, but it didn't look nice. It looked better when he did like a two-piece where it was like, ouch, and then dead.
Wants him to feel it first.
Yes, he's like, please don't kill me, please, I have kids. And Casper's like, no one has kids anymore, you fucking liar! And then he kills him. But it turns out, just to maximize the drama, that guy was the only person in Nevada who actually had kids. Just to maximize the sadness.
The concept of children is only ever used sociologically, like referring to your followers.
What a bastard.
Like the Mag Bandit. the bandits around him would be considered his children.
The children.
Jsoull.
What?
He wants to be fed to them.
Hotcase says you know you can disable the auto recovery.
I know, but that's a bad idea for obvious reasons.
Especially when you have these blackout crashes that can get you at any moment.
Yeah, sometimes the auto recovery saves my ass. Half the time it's just a burn, but it's better to keep it on than off.
Yo, Poke, that's like asking, it's like, hey, Jsoull, you should cut the brake line to your car so you don't have to stop at stop signs.
It's like, yeah, that'd be kind of a good idea, but also a really, really bad one. In principle, yes, but in practice, no.
If we can't fix your brakes, we can make your horn louder.
Delightful. Actually, that looked probably better with a different. Actually, there we go.
Another question from the Villain Club. Where do you guys get your music from your Madness Combat videos? Do you just look around YouTube or something, or do you commission some folks?
I commission all my music for mine. Jailbreak's soundtrack was made custom. Paradig 2's was made custom. Artifacts was made custom. Max 2's will also be custom. Darksignal's track was taken from the Project Nexus 2 OST. It was the HW theme that Cheshire made. I remember that. Most people in the community tended to just take tracks that were already made from Chesh and Fleet that weren't used in official Madness movies, to my knowledge.
But most people, if they want to be fancy nowadays, they get custom soundtracks instead of just stock stuff.
I find
music is really the only way I can have ideas for stuff that I animate in the first place. My ideas live and die by the music.
Musicchio.
If I hear something that I really like, I will often form a story to it. And that story is usually... It just has to go with the music that I hear it to. Otherwise, there's no story.
Quite peculiar.
It's gotta be accurate to the action on screen, right?
Yep.
Some guy named R7Dig7N says, does N51 company run off ramen and energy drinks or beans and coffee?
How am I supposed to know?
He made them.
Well, I remember making a joke a while ago, like after Max 2, N51 have like an after party where they bring out like a 100-year-old keg of beer they saved until they won. That'd be kind of funny. And then Ammo just brings a bunch of severed heads because they think that's what the party is supposed to be about.
7 pairs of severed hands.
Yeah, Ammo's not fun to have at parties. N51
They're the
though.
kid that nobody liked.
N51's chill. Like, they're not too active, but they bring in good stuff. Like, you know, the 100-year-old fortified wines.
We have a question from Yitos. Question: how is it animating Jailbreak 1?
Chaotic, but not nearly as bad as what happened with Paradig 2. I think I could have made my Jailbreak 1 part a lot better. The problem was I wasn't really good at animating at the time, and I was under extreme time pressure because when I was working on Jailbreak and Paradig 2, I was still taking like full-time college courses and also working a part-time job. And I didn't have the time to dedicate to getting better at that time, and that's so why the animation was kind of shit on my part. It wasn't that bad though. Paradig 2, I'm pretty happy with my contributions to it, especially since when you consider I also had to animate the latter half of Jackson's scenes because his fucking house burned down and we lost the original files. Which was just ridiculous when that happened. But yeah, Jailbreak was okay. It was still chaotic because originally it was being run by Konami, and I joined as an animator. But then he was like, "Well, I don't feel like working on it anymore," and he left. And then everyone's like, "Well, guess no more Jailbreak." And I'm like, "No, you fucking don't." And I brought it back together, and we were able to push it out on Halloween.
If only you were there for AGCM, maybe it would have done the same. Gone the same.
Or you mean like fucking Greedy Call App too?
Yeah. The server is still up.
Greedy Call
There's
Up?
only
Oh yeah,
two
I think Greedy Call Up is still there.
The server is still up. It's just me and VRBSM. Because he kicked everyone for whatever reason.
Oh, that's weird. Sometimes people are just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some other questions in here. Let's answer them before it's too late.
Let's do the Villain Club. IRL question. Do you guys own any Madness Combat merch? Plushies, shirts, stickers, etc.
I
I own a cup which uses a piece of art that Chazdu has done. He's a person who's done a few Madness things on Newgrounds, but mostly does comics of his own characters who are in Britain. I have a sort of cup thing, thermos, that has a piece of art he had done for Madness Day, of Madness stuff.
Madness.
And there's that, plus I have 2 posters from Prinkles. One of them I paid for, the other one he sent to me because the first one didn't arrive within a month.
How nice.
And that's it.
Well, I have one Madness merch thing. That's
it's actually a thing Baloney made. It was his submission for Madness Day 2020, A Very Red Day. That looks so fucking good that I was actually, I think, the guinea pig for the ArtStation prints, and I bought like one of the first ones, like when he put on the store, and I have it hung up somewhere.
because it deserves to be hung on a wall. It's so fucking beautiful.
And I do not have any official merch. All I got is this little clay grunt that my brother made for me last Christmas.
That little bastard. How dare he make something for his brother?
There's a question for Darksignal. Are you planning on referencing or maybe even showing the N51 captains concept that you posted about a while ago in Max 2?
Well, there's already people who are... LK Gross is already making some sprites for the captains because Jsoull has taken a shine to them and he wants to include them in the movie. He even wants to replace certain characters for them.
In reference to that, so in the commencement intro, the ISO that you see, like the guy with the white mask guys, I wanted to replace that scene with the three captains actually converging on themselves and be like, okay, let's go fuck them up. And then a bit more of like an arm up scene where you see all the N51 soldiers like load their guns and like load the tanks with ammunition, that kind of thing.
They'll just go in a circle and palm their fists together.
They'll go in a circle and they start loading magazines for 3 hours, and they're like, guys, we were supposed to be in the city 3 hours ago. And they're like,
it's
oh.
like Baldies.
Yeah, just loading magazines all day. Because, to be fair, all of N51 are bald.
There's... Mr. Human says that there's 3 captains, but I've only revealed 1. Well, that is not true anymore, because a few weeks ago I did the remaining concepts for the 4 captains.
Yeah, but you didn't show them
There's
off
a total
publicly.
of 4, but I only showed 1 years ago, but now they are all available on the MPN workbench.
We should show them off on Newgrounds. Make a post there and show them there. Because like 99% of people are not going to get a Discord account just to look at a couple pieces of art and then never use the server again.
Well,
Again,
I don't
I'm
know
gonna
if
be
I
doing-
want to do it as all one big picture, or if I want them to have them their 4 separate pictures.
Just upload
Because
it as-
on
just
their
up-
own, there's
just-
not really much.
Or just upload as 4 entries to the art portal. No one's going to give a shit. Or if you want to just pair them all as one big thing. Just either way, just show it off so people can see them. Because otherwise, like, barely anyone's ever going to be able to have the chance to even look at them.
I mean, I'm going to be working on sprites of captains.
Yes, well, currently LK... Maybe you can help LK, like, you can do, like, the base for the
I've already
perspectives.
been helping him. We have been working on one of the captains as we go.
Yeah, LK has done a great job on him so far from what I've seen. And the ISO, like, there will still be ISOs with their unique facial markings. Like, each ISO that shows up will have, like, a different insignia and different color. Because I'm just kind of crazy and I like having uniqueness like that. But the captains will be showing up in the intro and they'll be taking place of the ISO that is seen in the intro scenes. And also probably the ISO you see in the residential sector that has the revolver that shoots the tank. That'll be replaced with one of the captains.
I think that's Captain Duval, if I remember correctly. Sniper guy.
Fancy pantsy.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to find a way to put these on Newgrounds so these people will know what I'm talking about.
Just upload them there before it's too late.
It's not that hard.
I know it's not that hard, but does it have the substance?
The substance?
Well, yeah, to be considered Newgrounds art because they have art and then they just have file dump.
Yeah,
just
just
post
upload
an
it to
art.
just upload it to the art channel. Like there's an art portal, just put it there. Before it's too late.
We have a question from Stalker Kiosta, who's been asking this question multiple times and has gotten the answer already. That's you, pro animator. May I ask why main character is OP and all dies? To Jsoull.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid in Max too. Like, I'm having it so the OCs are actually going against strategic, incompetent fighters. Like, that's like what you saw in the museum room, where like this one OC that's like, yeah, I'm gonna go punch them, and then he gets shot in the face, because why wouldn't he? He's just running right at them in an open hallway. Why wouldn't he just get shot and die? If Hank was going against N51 and ammo, he wouldn't last very long. I'll give you that.
We have 2 other questions.
You don't want to be a ninja out in the open.
Yeah.
We have one from Chronix, who is saying, so Jsoull, how's the progress going, buddy?
On the movie overall. Whoa, no, I did not want to do that! Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
No, I swear to fucking God. Listen, I had the one stream be right back thing open, like the Swift file. And I right-clicked on the X on the Swift file window, and it just X'd out all of my tabs. I'm not fucking kidding. You saw that. I was streaming the fucking Flash window. You saw I did not X out those tabs. You saw I did not hit the X at the top right of the screen. You saw that. Everyone here saw that. I did not touch it. Why the fuck would Xing out just the render do that? Why? Holy crap. And without even any prompt, it just immediately closed it all. Fuck. My god, giving me a goddamn heart attack. Hopefully I didn't lose anything? Christ. Oh my god, just this fucking program raises my blood pressure. Okay.
So Jsoull, how goes the progress, buddy?
Oh my god.
Now we have an answer.
Oh.
What a good way to end the stream, huh?
Oh god. Okay, I think it's all still here. We're okay. We're alright. Holy fucking shit. One last check to the memory leak. It's at 7 million. We're good. We're good. We're okay. Holy shit. I was about to literally piss my pants.
We have a question for Darksignal.
Whew.
From Baloney. Side question. Why do I have a feeling that Captain Morris is the type of person to unmix a bag
I'm gonna
of
stop
mixed
you right
nuts?
there because I've already answered this question to him.
Oh.
He's a piece of shit. Tell him to go fuck himself. He deserves no mercy. Okay, seriously, I hit publish, right? And like when the little Swift window comes up when it's previewing it, I only hit X on that. Why would that X out all my FLAs?
Because there's a ghost in the program that just wants to, like, make you freak out.
I swear to God, it really does feel like that. Like this thing's just made to give me fucking stress. Like it's taken years off my life. I have no hair. This is why. It's all fallen out. Due to stress. Actually, it's because of a horrific disorder. Okay, can I export it now and have it not do that? Yeah, now it doesn't close out all my FLAs. Fucking piece of shit. Holy crap. Alright. I think we're just about done the stream. We've streamed about 3 hours, just over 3 hours, if I'm right. And the streams usually go on for
It's been about 3 hours and 38 minutes.
Yeah, that's about as long as these streams usually go on for. I think we had a good run. We had a lot of questions to cover. I'm very thankful for everyone that arrived.
We nearly lost all the progress.
Huh?
We nearly lost all the progress.
Yeah, that my fucking balls almost disappeared when that happened. I mean, crap. But yeah, so we're probably gonna be doing these streams probably like bi-monthly, monthly, bi-monthly, depends when people are available. Next stream will probably be new people because I want to rotate in and out people from the team, but that doesn't mean you will never see Darksignal and ShootThaCheese again. They'll just show up in the stream probably following the next. But I'm very glad everyone enjoyed their time here. I'm glad I got to answer the questions and engage with my fans. Apologize to you guys again for the movie taking so long, but I'm hoping that these streams and all the shit I'm showing off is showing that all that time is going towards good effort. And I'm not just sitting around shoving rocks up my ass.
That would be painful.
Any final questions should be given now? Because we're going to be closing in a few minutes.
There's one from Chronix who says, okay, last question for Jsoull. How many agencies are in the movie?
1. Ammo.
3.
Well, okay, well, technically, HW does show up in the museum as, like, mannequins.
I believe he means as in factions.
Well, that'd just be 1. Because just ammo. But Dark, you said 3? What do you mean 3?
Well, there is Nexus. They wear suits, so they're kind of an agency.
I don't really want to count them as an agency now. They're more like a mega conglomerate. Like in Maps 2, I treat them more like a megacorp.
Hey, Jsoull, maybe you should close this file before Flash does something fucky again. Since we're near the end after all.
But then, what will people look at if they don't look at my books?
Just a gray screen.
Or a black screen.
You know what? I'll do something so cruel, so terrible, that Crinkles himself will have no other option than to hunt me down personally and stop me before it's too late. Let me go find it. I'll do, yeah, this works. This works perfectly. I'll show off this really cool piece of art done by Danny the Profaner. Let me just set it up in OBS real quick. Image capture. No, not that one, goddammit. Browse. Window. There we go. This beautiful, beautiful thing by Danny the Profaner. Danny does great work. And here's a good sample of that work. Ancient Bully. Is this a spoiler for Maxification 3, the final maxining? You'll have to see the movie to find out. Because it is quite a delightful turn of events, obviously. What do you think of the art, Cheese? Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
It makes me want to kiss someone, but like not in a sexual way. More because I want to like suck the skin off of their face and chew on it. Like,
Like that's better.
How are there 2 Yulons?
Huh?
There's 2 Yulons.
Oh yeah, I guess it's because Danny didn't know that this is supposed to be Silkar's other body form. So then there's no other choice. And look out, there's the bird people. That's a spoiler, guys. Just so you know. Bird people are really dangerous. Especially in real life.
Yes. Jsoull's introducing furries into the animation.
No, I'm not. Don't say that. It's terrible. Abominable. I'll puke in your fucking mouth.
He said there's bird people.
No, but not like furry bird people. Just like bird skeletons, like Egyptian skeletons. Like Ra. Like the fucking Egyptian gods, that kind of thing. When I say bird people in like the furry context, I'm talking about the ones from Starbound or something. Not like these guys.
Avians.
If only the devs of that game weren't a bunch of fuckers and they actually kept working on it instead of just giving up. But what else is to happen? Alright. Had a fantastic time, you boys. I'm glad I got to hang out with you peeps and my own team members. And we'll be doing another stream probably a month or a month after the month upcoming.
Tomorrow.
Actually, probably, I'm not sure if it'll be next month, or at least not early next month, because I'm getting the chicken, like the chickens are being delivered April 4th. I will make a community post on April 4th, however. But I might not stream that month because I'll be busy taking care of them. But then after they're like old enough to where I can leave them alone for a bit, then I can probably do another stream. Maybe I'll even show them off if you guys want to see them. Who knows? All right. Had a fantastic time, people. We'll see you next time. Dark Cheese, do you have any final words?
I've killed
nope.
12 dumbass scientists, and Jsoull still won't let me leave. This sucks.
I've locked him in the basement. He doesn't have legs anymore.
Well, then who did?
All right.